Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook. Distribute Marvel. I sign in Doomsday at the start. Chapter 81. Eric is a pragmatic activist. As soon as this side received the order from Chen Shi, the other side started to act. I found Moto, who was reading mechanical books, and told him about it. Moto, come with me, we're going to kill someone, and this person has a lot of murderous intentions for mutant. You mean the guy in the newspaper? Moto instantly knew which sand sculpture Eric was talking about, just that kind of IQ, which was too pitiful. Well, yes, if you want to leave no trace, then it's up to you, and you will control his vehicle. Then, when he passed the red light intersection, I would let the car drive normally, and when it hit, I would control the parts to kill him. This was planned by Chen Shi for him. As long as the red light collided, Eric would control the parts to kill him. Who can say? Who made him run the red light? 970. No problem, it's all trivial matters, and it will definitely make him die very strangely, but it's reasonable. Moto nodded. The two hit it off and left, and when Edwin came home from get-off work at noon, death would come. Chen Shi continued to bask in the sun leisurely, so that the salted fish could become stronger. In this life, he had to be a lot of salted fish that would not turn over, and leave the murder to Eric. On the other hand, it was not idle either. Eric, why is this guy going to work? We don't seem to be here at the right time. It should be a little later, or a little earlier. Moto looked at the time and complained for a while. This guy has no morals at all, and he is late for work. Is this the quality of a congressman? Okay, don't worry, maybe this guy will go out to run errands later, he will definitely not be idle, we can just keep an eye on it. Eric lay in the back row with his eyes closed, and said leisurely, don't worry, this person will surely die anyway. Moto has locked Edwin's car, and he can sense it as long as he starts it. As time passed, Roar was already asleep in the back row, and Moto was also drowsy on the steering wheel. Suddenly, Moto felt Edwin's car started, and he quickly shouted to Eric, who was asleep. Eric, don't sleep, the big fish is dispatched, let's contact the action team quickly. Ha, Edwin came out. Then follow along. Eric woke up immediately after hearing this. Immediately got off the car and walked to the public telephone booth, and made a call. Big fish is dispatched, it is expected to arrive at your intersection in 5 minutes, pay attention. Moto, let's follow. When Moto heard this, he started the car and followed. Edwin's driver drives smoothly and is not in a hurry at all. He has been Edwin's driver for more than 10 years and is the person Edwin trusts most. He didn't know that today was the last cooperation between his master and servant. When the car came to the intersection in front of him in a hurry, just when the red light came on, he was about to stop when he realized something was wrong. Boss, it's not good, the vehicle is out of control, there must be something wrong, let's jump out of the car. As soon as the driver noticed something was wrong, he immediately advised Edwin to jump out of the car. When Edwin opened the door to jump off the car, the door could not be opened like it was welded. This can't open. Wow, this is murder. Absolute murder. Eddie is incoherent, stammering and yelling, it's murder. I'm sorry, this is the car that leads to hell, enjoy yourself, I'm Welding Emperor, and the door has been welded to death by me. Eric naturally knew that the two of them were going to jump out of the car. He had already controlled the car door and laughed in his heart. He wanted to get out of the car. There was no door. It was too late, then too fast. In just a few seconds, passers-by saw a car running a red light, and another normal driving car directly hit it. Boom! Huge amounts of impacts were heard, and the vehicle overturned. At this time, people are still very simple, and they immediately went to save people when they heard the movement. When they turned over the out-of-shape car they hit, they found that the driver's neck was cut by the glass, and the heart of the rear passenger was cut by the iron sheet. In the dark, Moto and Eric looked at each other and smiled, without saying anything, turned around and drove away from the scene. After a while, the police came, and they just hurriedly determined that Edwin was running a red light. He was not in charge of such a big boss. As for why he ran a red light, then the ghost knows. But the ghost really knew that Edwin was the scapegoat. Sir, it's done, no trace left, as for them to verify, there is no way. In the manner, Eric looked at Chen Shi with incomparable reverence. For the first time, he felt that killing people could still play like this. It was simply art. Killing is invisible. Eric, don't get excited, this is basic exercise, don't read more books, this is the most basic. Chen Shi looked at Eric and knew that this guy used to kill people and then ran away. In this era, there is no surveillance. Who can find him? What about after that? Satellites all over the orbit, surveillance everywhere, no brains, no wonder he was put in jail at every turn. Eric, who was greatly inspired, hurried away after hearing what Chen Shi said, probably going to the bookstore. It didn't take long for Raven to come and shout, "Husband, after dinner, I'll miss you." Chen Shi knew it was dinner time by looking at the time. Let's go, just watch the news. When the girls waited for Chen Shi to come in, they served him rice and prepared tableware and chopsticks. Chen Shi, the old landlord and rich man, was happy enough, and he was serving him upright. Qian Huan, turn on the TV, let's watch the good news. Okay, you'll be lazy. Jubilation Li stretched out her hand, and she turned on the TV with psychokinesis, and a middle-aged man appeared on the screen. According to our reporter's report, at about 11 a.m., Edwin Partridge MP ran a red light for unknown reasons and collided with a car. The driver and Mr. Edwin died on the spot. The exact cause of the accident is still under investigation. When everyone saw the news, they knew that this person was the hand of their husband. Husband, are you all right? What can be wrong? Who is to blame for running a red light? Let's eat. Chen Shi took a sip of red wine and said lightly. Eat, eat, you worry, if my husband wants to punch the earth, my husband just plays with them. Raven said carelessly. Everyone nodded earnestly. It was common for my husband to take a bath in the sun, and he thought too much. Well, by the way, I'll have dinner later. Mora, inject the super soldier serum, the T-virus serum you injected before should get used to it. Chen Shi felt that Mora was too weak, and every time she was the first to lose, this whole family was a power user, it was terrifying. The super soldier serum can prolong life. This improved version can live for 150 or 60 years without any problem. Chen Shi also gave his wife all kinds of Peiyuandan, Guyuandan, Huichundan, Mayundan, and so on. He still hopes to sign some good things that increase life expectancy, and it doesn't take too long, just a few hundred years. After a few hundred years, according to the growth of his current strength, he will soon be able to reach the golden super 5-dimensional level, and then he will give his wife's super ability and alter reality at will. Well, hubby, listening to you, I also think I'm almost used to the development of the perfect T serum virus. Mora nodded. This is really good. Where did he dare to imagine this before? I used to be stubborn and didn't look down on a playboy like Chen Shi, but I didn't expect it to be so fragrant. After lunch, I still went to work, but the salted fish that was supposed to be salted was gone. In a certain European country, Wandage Mountain, a nearby town, Chen Destruction appeared. Every action of Chen Shi naturally has his meaning in it. This time it is for a pair of twins who are a few years old. Back in 1956, Eric took revenge everywhere and met a woman named Magda. Eric, who left in a hurry, did not know that Magda was pregnant and gave birth to a pair of twins for him. On the night of childbirth, there was a battle on the Wandager Mountain. The ancient evil god Sichorn, who was banished to a different space, tried to return to the real world through the passage in the mountain, and was repelled by forces such as high evolvers, but Sichorn failed. Approaching Wanda in an instant, he had some kind of influence on her. Because he saw that Wanda has the ability to modify the BUG level variant of the probability, so he gave Wanda a lot of origin magic power in an attempt to control Wanda. It's a pity that after all the calculations, it still went wrong. In the future, Wanda will inadvertently integrate these two abilities, and have such an inexplicable super ability as alter reality. Chen Shi went around and finally inquired about the location of the twins from the memory of this group of people. He found that Wanda and Pietro's adoptive parents were really poor, and their adoptive father was idle and often doing petty things. Standing outside the door, Chen Shi shouted, "Hi, is anyone home?" After a while, a cute little loli came over in shabby clothes and asked timidly, "Excuse me, who are you looking for?" Chen Shi looked at this cute little Wanda and said softly, "I'm here to find your parents, when will they come back?" "I'm sorry, they went to work and can't come back at night, or you should come at night." Wanda didn't dare to open the door. Too many children were abducted and sold these days. His parents told them not to open the door. Chen Shi nodded secretly. Little Wanda has been smart and cute since she was a child, and she is really a ghost. Chen Shi took out a big bag of chocolates and candies and put them at the door, then said to them, "My little ones, I put a big bag of chocolates and candies, you can eat them, I'll come back later." Wanda and Pietro rarely eat chocolate candies, which are too tempting for children of 6 or 7 years old. They swallowed, but they held back. "Thank you. Mom and Dad said that you can't eat strangers' food casually, you should come back at night." Seeing this, Chen Shi secretly smiled. This little girl is still very vigilant, not bad, not bad. "Well, I'll leave first, and the chocolate candies will be placed at the door. You can eat them later." Chen Shi stood at the gate of the courtyard and shouted to them, then turned and left. "Wanda, I'll go to the window to see if that person is gone." Pietro immediately went to check if there was anyone at the door. After a while, Pietro came to the door and said to Wanda, "Wanda, there is no one at the door, let's go there and get some chocolate, I really want to eat it." The kid from Wanda patted Pietro on the head. "Eat, eat, eat, you don't even know if they sold you, wait for an hour, and that person isn't around before you go get it." Chen Shi, who was observing secretly, laughed directly, "This little Wanda is too cute." But thinking about it, Chen Shi felt distressed about their brother and sister again. The children of poor families should be in charge early. Wanda is so sensible since she was a child, she must have suffered a lot. Chen Shi can imagine that they have never worn new clothes, never eaten cakes, and basic chocolate can make Pietro jealous. Hey. An hour later, Wanda didn't notice Chen Shi again, so she quietly opened the door and went to take the big bag of chocolates and candies into the room. Pietro couldn't wait to open a piece and put it in his mouth. Although Wanda also likes to eat, she is more ladylike, and girls are more mature than boys. Wanda squinted her big eyes happily and bent into a cute crescent shape. It was delicious. "I don't know if I can eat again in the future, so I need to save some food." Chen Shi naturally saw that Wanda secretly hid some chocolates for himself and Pietro to eat later. Seeing this, Wanda's sensibleness really made him feel distressed. Life is so hard. No matter what, he should be frugal and tell himself that he will be nice to her in the future. The boring waiting was the most uncomfortable. When Chen Shi was about to fall asleep, Maximov appeared. When Wanda saw her parents appear, she quickly told what Chen Shi was looking for. "Dad, Mom, someone was looking for you in the afternoon, but when you weren't there, he left us some chocolate and left." "Someone looking for? What other friends do we have? Or relatives coming?" "Wanda, what does he look like? How old is he?" Wanda's adoptive father asked suspiciously. Wanda tilted her head and said after thinking about it, "The man is very good looking, about 20 years old, with yellow skin." As soon as Wanda finished speaking, a voice came from outside. "Is anyone home? I'm looking for you." When Chen Shi saw that they were back, he naturally wouldn't waste time. "I'm the owner of this house, I don't know you, what are you looking for from me?" Maximov was sure that he had never met Chen Shi. If he did, he would be impressed for the rest of his life. Such a face and temperament are unparalleled in the world. Chen Shi went straight to the point and didn't beat around the bush, saying frankly, "It doesn't matter if you don't know me, as long as I know you, that's it, I'm going to take Wanda and Pietro to meet their biological father." This time, the two Maximov were stunned. "What's going on? This is a big secret." "No, I won't let you take them away." Maximov's attitude was firm. "Giving you $10,000 as a gift for so many years of parenting." Chen Shi felt that a petty theft like Maximov could be solved with money, so why bother with such a thing? "No, 20,000. Chen Shi added another 10,000. "It's too low. I treat them like my own children, and I have to pay more." "One price, 50,000. Make a deal." Maximov agreed immediately. $50,000, they couldn't earn it after 20 years of hard work. Maximov's reaction had long been expected by Chen Shi, so that the petty thief was not open to seeing money, which would save him trouble. Looking at Maximov's smug and greedy smile, Chen Shi cast a disdainful glance at him and threw him 5 stacks of US dollar bills. Seeing this, Maximov hurriedly put it into his arms. Chen Shi was speechless, as if anyone wanted to rob you of your money. "You know what to do now. Go and make it clear, otherwise you will understand the consequences." Chen's eyes' indifferent tone is full of irreversible majesty. Yes, yes, don't worry, I will do it beautifully, please wait. Maximov nodded and bowed, grinning all over his face, then turned and entered the room with a smug smile. Looking at Maximov's fluttering figure, Chen Shi muttered to himself, it's cheap for you. According to the original plot, when Wanda was a teenager, Pietro found out that his adoptive father was not a good person, so he took Wanda to start a wandering life. But now Chen Shi wants to take away Wanda ahead of time, and gave him such a large sum of money, but he made it depends on whether he does it beautifully or not. Inside the house, Wanda, Pietro and their adoptive mother were chatting together when Maximov hurried in. Seeing this, Wanda's adoptive mother hurriedly asked him, "Husband, what's the matter? Did something happen? What did that person just come for?" Maximov ignored his wife's question and turned to look at the Wanda siblings. "Wanda, do you know who that person was just now?" Wanda shook her head. I don't know who he is." Maximov smiled slowly. "He was sent by your biological father to find you." What? Wanda and Roar said in shock. "Our biological father? Who are you?" Seeing the two of them with shock and disbelief on their faces, Maximov continued, "When your mother gave birth to you behind your father's back and was unable to raise you, she gave us to raise you." Wanda and Pietro stood there, bewildered. They were only a few years old, what ideas could they have? Seeing the two of them in a daze, Maximov knew it was time for him to perform. He took a step forward, took out the money Chen Shi gave him, shook it in front of the two of them, and said, "This is the money that person gave me just now. It's a return for taking care of you over the past few years. Now we've settled it. No, Wanda is our child, how can anyone be taken away?" The Wanda siblings didn't have time to speak, but their adoptive mother was startled by Roar. "Go away, this is 50,000 yuan, I can't earn it in my life, why are you holding me back? This is someone's biological father who is here, so what reason do you have for not letting the family reunite?" Maximov pushed his wife aside and yelled. Seeing this, Wanda and Pietro felt a chill in their hearts. Normally, their adoptive father was not a good person, but now it seems that nothing is right, and they sold them directly. "Mom, are you all right? Get up quickly, does it hurt?" Wanda hurried over to help her up. Maximov snorted coldly. HMPH, a woman who doesn't know what to do, money is life and everything. "We can go, but you get half of my mother for the money, and you two get divorced." The mature Wanda also knows that her adoptive father is not a good person, how much her mother has suffered with him, she is still young and will have a better life in the future. "Money, I don't have a dime. Divorce is fine, I'll go tomorrow." Maximov rascally replied, "With so much money, can't you find a more beautiful woman?" Wanda was exasperated. Pietro quietly reached out and tugged at the corner of Wanda's shirt and said, "No hurry, anyway, our biological father has money, so what's the hurry?" Looking at Maximov's face, Wanda felt like he was going to smack him, but unfortunately he was too small. "It's up to you whether you give the money or not. Mom, are you going to divorce or not?" Pietro asked. Leave tomorrow." "Okay, that's what you said." Maximov was overjoyed and left. Chen Shi outside the door knew that this matter was done, and he was fortunate that he met a guy who saw money and opened his eyes. If he met a good person, it would be embarrassing. Soon, Maximov brought the Wanda siblings to Chen Zai's side. "Sir, the two agreed to leave with you, and this is all my credit, ha ha ha." Maximov said proudly. "Okay, I get it, you can get out of here, it's none of your business." Chen Shi waved rudely and told him to get out. Maximov knew that he had to get out of the way, this man couldn't afford to offend him. "Are you really sent by my father to find us? Why didn't he come?" Wanda looked at Chen Shi and asked softly. "Yes or no, anyway, I will take you to see your biological father, I want to surprise him. We can go with you, but I hope you can give our mother a sum of money tomorrow, enough for her to live a lifetime." Wanda made her last request. Chen Shi nodded and said, "These are all small issues. You haven't got anything to pack yet. Say goodbye to your mother, and we'll leave. Then wait for us." After Wanda finished speaking, Pietro went to say goodbye to her mother. As for packing, what can the two children have? They don't even have any decent toys. A broken baby bear was picked up by Wanda and is her best toy. Soon, the two said goodbye to their mother, and Wanda came out with her teddy bear. The kings. Chen Shi hugged the twins in distress, and sure enough, Mutant concluded that no one could avoid the county. Okay, kids, let's go. The blue light flashed, and under the shock of the two of them, they teleported thousands of mountains and rivers and came to Umbrella Manor. Sir, are you a god? Is our father a god too? Pietro Roar is incredible, and has begun to imagine that he was born extraordinary, a child left by God, and now sends another god to take him away. Wanda also looked at Chen Shi with admiration. Pietro was right, this person must be a god. I am not the god you imagined, but I am stronger than God. Chen's eyes indifferent voice is not high, but it is full of invincible confidence. After leaving at noon, it took 6 or 7 hours to bring the two of Wanda back. At this time, the lights were bright and the women came back. Hey, husband, did you find a pair of twins? It's illegal to abduct and sell children. Hey, what's wrong with my husband? They definitely know that their husbands won't do such nasty things, but the illness doesn't stop them from joking. Go and play with eggs, you, Wanda, Pietro, let's eat first. Chen Shi is really speechless, this bunch of shit, is he that kind of person? Hey, come on, little cutie, let's wash our hands and eat. After Emma finished speaking, she took the two of them to wash their hands and prepare for dinner. At this time, Peggy walked up to Chen Shi and asked, Husband, what's the matter? Are the two of them also little mutants you picked up? Peggy's mind was meticulous, and she guessed the general appearance at once. Although there was a little deviation, it was almost the same. Chen Shi nodded and said, that's pretty much what it means. They are Eric's children. Eric doesn't know yet, the romantic debt he owed before. 5. Chen Shi talked about what he knew. Anyway, the plot of the movie is almost the same. So, Eric doesn't know yet, haha, this is a surprise from heaven, and it directly makes him and his children both. Peggy snickered, as if she could imagine Eric's stern face. Chen Shi is like her, and always likes to take other people's unhappiness out to make himself happy. After a while, Emma arrived with her 2 children. Wow, it's so rich, so many delicious foods. Pietro swallowed while looking at the food on the table. Peggy called Roar, then sit down and eat. Hey, you don't know how to use chopsticks, don't learn it now, use a fork, and then learn it later. Only then did Peggy realize that the two of them were blank, as if to say, what kind of tableware is this? So she immediately asked the servant to bring the knife and fork. While eating and chatting, everyone was very curious about the twins. So Qianqianwan was the first to ask, Pietro, Wanda, is it delicious? Delicious, delicious, I have never eaten something so delicious. Wanda sweetly answered the sisters' questions. Yeah, it's delicious, thank you sisters, how many times did my family eat meat, see Deb, once before? Pietro's mouth is full, this is the nature of children. Pietro, what nonsense are you talking about? Wanda's sister who was 30 seconds older than him immediately kicked Pietro. Although she was only 7 years old, she was much more sensible. It's okay, you like to eat it, and you will eat it every day from now on. You're welcome, this is your home. Hearing Pietro's words, Peggy's eyes suddenly turned red, and she spoke innocently, which must be his truth. Afterwards, everyone stopped inquiring, it was a light-hearted and pleasant topic, and the meal was finished happily. After resting for a while, the servant took the two to clean up and take a bath, and the girls came around. Husband, where did they come from? Are they mutants? Hearing the women's inquiries, Chen Shi repeated what he had just told Peggy. All the girls knew it was Eric's fault, so let's give him a big surprise tomorrow. Raven suddenly asked, Husband, tell me about their ability, will they be powerful in the future? After Chen Shi heard Raven's question, not only Raven, but everyone looked at him. Wei Wei thought for a moment and said, Pietro is nothing, he is a high-speed movement, which almost stops the surrounding time when activated. It's cool, this ability, it can fight and run, it can slow down time, it's so powerful. The girls feel that this ability is too strong, and they are invincible. Strong is very strong, it is too easy to target, let me talk about Wanda, she is the darling of the universe, born strong. Chen Shi paused, and focused on Wanda's ability. Wanda has a super mutant ability such as modification probability, and was later infused with a large amount of origin magic power by the god of the underworld, so Wanda Metamorphosis got ability of alter reality. As long as ability is strong enough, everything she said will come true. Alter reality. Although the girls don't know what this ability is, it can be seen from the name that the cute loli just now will be so powerful in the future. My dear, this little girl is too scary. Yeah, I didn't see that Eric was so cowardly, yet he could give birth to such a powerful daughter. That's right, this kid will give birth, but in the end, isn't it cheap for our husband? All the girls, you despised Eric, and by the way, seriously despised Chen Shi. Che, what do you know? This is called fat water not flowing to outsiders, fields. How could Chen Shi let Wanda go down the old road? What kind of rotten robot is against the sky? A pile of rubble. Wanda's strength and beauty, he has already reserved it, whoever stops it will die. How defiant Wanda is, it's definitely just that her performance in the comics is too bright, but in the movie universe, she is not proficient in origin magic power at all. Wanda's first mental breakdown led directly to the dissolution of the Avengers, with Ant-Man, Hawkeye, and Vision all dying in the event. The second mental breakdown just said one sentence: there is no mutant anymore. It will turn the whole world into a utopia, directly causing the population of mutant to plummet from 1 million to 182 people. The third mental breakdown was when Wanda said that there were no more super ability people, and then the super ability of the Fantastic Four, Mutant, Hulk, Captain America, Inhumans, etc., were completely destroyed. Chen Shi knew that origin magic power was too terrifying, and he also wanted to get such an ability. The key was to wait for Wanda awakening, which took too long. The chatting time passed quickly. As soon as Wanda came out after dressing up, it made all the girls abandon Chen Shi and go straight to Wanda. It's so cute. This one, that one pinching her little face. Wanda is depressed. I am a ruthless tool. Unable to resist, Wanda had a hopeless expression on her face, as if to say, you can do whatever you want, just give it a stutter. Definitely, tonight's Chen Shi can only be ruthlessly abandoned by this group of women, and can only go to the sun to take a bubble bath and sleep to dispel the depression. Chen Shi woke up as soon as it was dawn on the other side of the earth. The sun was plasma, and the cleansing effects were unparalleled. If you are interested, you can try it. The bright and clean Chen Shi appeared in his room in an instant, and then he was shocked. He really didn't take others as outsiders. After dawdling for a few hours, I went downstairs neatly and uniformly, and the chef had already prepared lunch and was waiting for them. Peggy, what about the Wanda brothers and sisters? Why didn't you come to dinner? Chen Shi looked around, but did not see the figures of the two, and immediately asked. Are the two of them playing outside the yard? Pietro is trolling and chasing the dog, and Wanda is feeding the cat with food. They are all at an age who likes small animals. Speaking of the two children, Peggy's face showed a touch of maternal tenderness, from Raven, Emma, Jubilation Lee, all of whom she brought up, and now Wanda. Suddenly Peggy seemed to have thought of something, and looked at Chen Shi with a burning gaze. Husband, you are dead, you can't have children. Ha ha ha, so many of our sisters have not given birth, that must be your problem. When it comes to having children, Chen Shi is depressed. How did the ancient ruins have children? Solve it. Don't mention it. The stronger the individual, the less able it is to have children. This is a restriction of the Tao rule. If you don't understand it, you will understand it later. Besides, it hurts to have a child. How hard. Chen Shi is full of nonsense. Anyway, he really doesn't know, and it is probably similar to what he said. The descendants of the strong must be powerful, and the plunder of cosmic energy resources is too much, the universe cannot bear it. Come on, you have many reasons. Wanda, Pietro, wash your hands and eat, stop playing. Peggy rolled her eyes at Chen Shi, a guy with a mouth full of trains, and called for the two to come in for dinner. Wow, another great lunch, hee hee, thank you sisters. Wanda, why don't you thank your brother? Wanda's words made Chen Shi heartbroken. After all, I was the one who brought you out of the sea of misery. Yes, thank you brother too, hee hee. Wanda sweetly said something to Chen Shi. Eating and eating, Wanda remembered something, so she asked Chen Shi, brother, when will I send some money to my mother? She doesn't have any money in her hand. Chen Shi thought about it and said, in a few days, give it to her now, maybe Maximov knows, give it later, it's safe. Wanda nodded after hearing this. It was true, after a while, the two of them had no contact at all before giving a suitable one. Chen Shi has no interest in killing a small person like Maximov. After all, Wanda was brought up by him, so he has some kind of affection, just let him fend for himself. After dinner, when everyone was lying on the sofa chatting, Eric was called by Chen Shi. Eric came here with a bit of confusion. He didn't know what the surprise Chen Shi said was for him. Anyway, what to ask or what not to say. Soon Eric came in, and before he sat down, he said, "Boss, I'm here, what's the surprise? Tell me now, you're going to be suffocated." "What a surprise. Say it and it will scare you to death, wait for your head to roar." So Chen Shi spoke up. "Look, I brought you a daughter and a son. They are." After Chen Shi finished speaking, he pointed to Wanda and Pietro who were watching TV. "Stop joking, boss. I'm not married yet, I don't have a wife, where are the children?" Eric's face is dumbfounded. "Boy. I'm still a cucumber boy, where is the child? The boss won't be your child, I'm afraid the lady will know." "Do you have to falsely accuse me? What is your expression? This is true, how can I lie to you? The heart of a villain, the belly of a gentleman." Chen Shi is speechless. This guy is all here doubting his character and honesty. Chen Shi is known as an honest little man. "Wanda, come here Pietro, he's your dad, Eric Lenscher." Chen Shi ignored Eric's wild thoughts, and directly called the two of Wanda to recognize their relatives. "Dad, Dad." The two looked at each other. This weirdo is their father. He also wears a helmet. Who is the serious person? Seeing that Eric was still stunned, Chen Shi reminded him again. "Don't be stunned, Eric, didn't you hear people calling you? Think again, do they look like you and Magda?" Eric came back to his senses and muttered to himself, "Ma and Da and I gave birth. Incredible. Brother, he is really our father, what a strange person, he still wears a helmet when he is fine." Wanda looked at Chen Shi with doubts, as if asking Chen Shi to give an answer. Chen Shi knew that both Eric and Wanda were full of doubts and disbelief, so he said the easiest way, "You guys go and do a DNA, Eric, now you take them to the base." Anyway, the base is at the foot, it is not simple, a DNA paternity test, very quickly. Eric nodded and said, "Let's go, kids, I'm 99% convinced now. To convince you, let's go." Eric already believed what Chen Shi said, because the boss wouldn't lie to him at all, but the children would be suspicious and he could only do a DNA paternity test. Wanda and the two also followed, and they agreed, such a thing, the adults said, is the best way. The three of them left, leaving Chen Shi and his wives waiting in the living room. "Husband, this Eric is not what I said about him. He wears the helmet you gave him every day. He is so ugly, how can he find a woman to live?" Mora knew that this guy's behavior was too weird and wanted to help him introduce his girlfriend, but when they saw him, they ran away. "Haha, it's okay. Eric doesn't want love, he regards helping mutants' career as a belief, a woman. It will only affect the speed of his shot." Chen Zai's words made all the girls give him a blank look. Do you think this world can leave women and try? Between Chen Zai's gag, Eric came back, and the report in his hand told everyone accurately that Wanda and Pietro were his children. However, the two children obviously couldn't accept the sudden addition of a strange father, so they could only wait slowly. Chen Shi believes that it won't take long for them to get used to each other's existence. After all, Eric can't be blamed entirely. No one can find a phone these days. "Brother, I still want to live here, I have my sister here, with you, to accompany me." Wanda took Chen Zai's hand and shook it. "It's so nice here, what's the point of facing a popsicle all day? Stay, 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 don't leave a villa that is separated by dozens of meters, as for it. Chen Shi, it doesn't matter, where you want to be, rich and willful." Pietro stayed with Eric, Wanda stayed with Chen Shi, definitely, Pietro still went to Chen Shi to eat, how could a child refuse the temptation of delicious food? Time flies, Chen Shi feels that the current days are too long. Because Wanda came, the girls said that in order to make Wanda familiar with the environment, they had to choose two people to accompany Wanda every day. The unfortunate day came again in a daze. Chen Shi looked at the three useless people beside him, and wanted to cry without tears. Ding! The new week's sign-in has begun, please start the sign-in. Ding! the new week's sign-in has begun, please start the sign-in. The new sign-in has started again. Rubbing the foggy head, let yourself wake up all of a sudden. The mechanical voice in my mind kept ringing, even more, 353, than the alarm clock. Heaven Lingling, Earth Lingling, invincible goddess, invincible little fairy, bless and bless, I haven't signed my baby for many years. Chen Zai's mouth was muttering, chanting words, and praying with gods and gods, he is the blood of the European emperor, let's go to the soul system, sign me in. Chen Shi shouted in his heart, as if this would solve the curse of being an African chief. Well, Chen Zai's character is really incomprehensible, his thinking is always slippery, slipping to a place that others can't understand. Since the beginning of the peak, he has been free to sign in, I am invincible, you are free. He suddenly started to pray on a whim this time, which is really strange. Ding, congratulations to the master, you have successfully signed in and obtained the seed of origin magic power. Boom. When Chen Shi heard the prompt sound, a thunderbolt sounded directly in his head, and his brain was buzzing. What? Origin magic power, origin magic power. Posted, accumulated more than 10 years of character, and exploded. Chen Shi muttered to himself, chanting the words origin magic power and making a fortune all the time. Hey, hubby, you're stunned, didn't you say that origin magic power only exists in the future Wanda? Emma pushed Chen Shi hard, the fool suddenly woke up, and after a while he muttered something inexplicable. Hey, wife, you don't know, it's just me getting origin magic power. Haha, just tap. After saying that, Chen Shi kissed Emma. Cut, if you like to talk or not, I don't even know it. It's mysterious every week, Emma mumbled, and went back to sleep. Chen Zai's sign-in system is his biggest secret. No matter who it is, he won't tell it, it's his life. System, what level is my origin magic power now? Chen Shi didn't hear it clearly at all, and didn't read the specific ability he signed in. He only heard the word origin magic power and couldn't think of anything else. Ding, the current situation of the master is just like when Wanda was just awakening. It is very weak and needs time to grow, but your speed will be many times that of Wanda. The system's prompts are obvious, just learn more magic and increase your mental power. There are different opinions on the origin of origin magic power, and there are too many versions. Anyway, it is a kind of supreme energy that existed before the birth of the original universe. Underworld God was hammered by Wadam and had nowhere to escape. He had no choice but to go into exile in other latitudes. He was also lucky and got origin magic power. Origin magic power, creating matter, annihilating matter, is simply a bug. Definitely Chen Shi does not have the probability of modifying ability like Wanda, otherwise it will directly metamorphosis into alter reality's origin magic power. Chen Shi hurried to a desert, ready to test the newly acquired origin magic power. A scarlet light flashed, Chen Shi condensed a simple magic ball and threw it towards the ground. Boom, that little magic ball was also the first time he mastered origin magic power, and it directly annihilated the round pit with a radius of 7 or 8 meters deep, leaving it empty. My dear, it's incredible, if this is a little stronger, even the steel will be annihilated. Chen Shi tried to create matter again, and in this desert full of yellow sand, he thought of glass. As soon as the thought moved, mental power spewed out, and slowly a glass appeared in Chen Zai's hand. Chen Shi estimates that, according to his own ideas, creating a comparable annihilation is much more difficult. Annihilation means destroying matter. It's really easy. If Chen Shi wants to annihilate, he can do it with his fists. But it is still easy for him to create a small and simple dead object. If he were to create a living person, it would be almost impossible for him to do it now. However, Chen Shi is fortunate that he has obtained the origin magic power, and everything can be changed. As long as time goes by slowly, just like Wanda in the Runaway era in the comics, a universe is created. Find a Wanda, sign into origin magic power. If you find a Jean Grey, can you sign into Phoenix Force? Chen Zai's mind was madly imagining, and he guessed again, is it really possible? With such thoughts out of control, he couldn't wait to find Qin Jie Lei. Wait, the Qin of this period seems to have not been born yet. That's not right, there are 2 timelines of Qin. Chen Shi thought to himself that, according to the old timeline, Chin would not have been born until around 1972, 7 or 8 years later. In a new timeline, she'd be around 1963. I don't want to, I have a headache, go home. It's a blessing to be able to sign into origin magic power. It hurts to think about it. Chen Shi decided not to think about it. The ghost knows what happened to the timeline after he came. Didn't Jubilation Lee make his debut more than 10 years earlier? When they got home, everyone had already woken up, and when they saw that Chen Shi was actually in a good mood humming a ditty, he had a ghostly expression. Isn't this husband resentful these days? Why is he in a beautiful mood today? Is it because he has another sister? Okay, don't guess. My husband woke up this morning and said that he had an invincible ability. The ghost knows what he said. No, it's been so much fun. Seeing that everyone was so curious, Emma immediately told everyone what she knew. It turned out to be a baby, no wonder. Everyone was no longer curious when they heard it, and Peggy quickly called roar everyone, okay, let's eat. What Chen Shi didn't know was that the god of the underworld in a certain latitude was furious. An ant, mortals dare to meddle with my power, and wait for the revenge of the underworld god. The god of the underworld, Sithone, became a latitude Mephista and was able to die of depression. He was a dignified ancient god, but he was half-hammered by his sons. After finally surviving, I got a kind of magical energy, and I directly became one of the best bosses. I also wanted to go back to Earth to pretend to be a match, but I was hammered again. You said that he is not depressed anymore. The anger of hundreds of millions of years has nowhere to vent. If it is not for the tortoise mentality that has developed for many years, he would have committed suicide long ago. I can't stand it anymore. Everyone is bullying me every day. I'm so wrong. God of the underworld originally retreated and practiced today, thinking that one day he would come to the earth again in Wanda's body, and he would become the master of the earth again. But today, a burst of energy suddenly came, and it was unreasonable to smash him, and also took away a small part of his origin magic power, more than what he gave to Wanda. He doesn't know what level the big guy is, anyway, he is much stronger than him. But at the moment when Chen Shi used origin magic power, he sensed that this was the flesh ripped from his body. There will always be so much power. If one more person uses, then someone will have less energy. When the underworld god found out that this person was still an earthling, he was immediately angry, and the people who bullied him were earthlings. He wants to go back with fierce revenge and let them know that the god of the underworld, Sishorn, is not someone who can hammer if he wants to. Hey, it's a bit difficult. Behind this person is the big guy who hammered me. I'm definitely not his opponent. If he rushes to the door, it must be another blast. I have to get some help. Underworld god has lived for billions of years, and he is not a fool. He is obviously not someone's opponent. Dormammu, Mephisto, you two draw on my energy, it's time for you two to repay me. The god of the underworld, Sishorn, pondered for a while, and then he made a decision. He pulled two comrades in arms and wanted to be beaten, and everyone was beaten together. In the dark latitude, the god of the underworld, Sishorn, appeared here in an instant, and at the same time, Dormammu sensed the arrival of the god of the underworld, Sishorn. The lord of the underworld came to me in the dark latitude. Dormammu has lost his way to welcome him, please forgive me. Dormammu said very politely, this big guy is more powerful than himself, and he used to use his energy. Dormammu, I have something to ask you for help. Ask me for help. Lord Underworld God is much stronger than me, what can I do to help? Dormammu is not stupid at all, but his heart was suddenly shocked, isn't this a trick to me? He can't do anything, so I went to be cannon fodder. Do you think I'm stupid? The god of Underworld was suddenly unhappy. Each of these latitude Mephistas was more cunning and darker than the other. He snorted coldly and said, really? Dormammu, you and I have the same goal, devour the earth, don't tell me you don't want it. Devouring the earth, this is my dream. Unfortunately, the earth has Ancient One, Odin, and the protection of the three holy places, so I can't come down and deliver food. Dormammu's head shook with a rattle. Yes, the chess pieces he arranged still have to wait. It's not in a hurry. I'll talk about it later. You are wrong, this time I will personally take action and teach a person a lesson. A thief. Thinking of this, he gritted his teeth. Ha, you shot. It's true or false, that kid didn't sign a contract with you, that's forcible plunder. You have enough guts. When Dormammu heard it, he was instantly happy. This person is really good, he can't do it. Underworld God asked again, how is it? Are you going to take action? I will invite Mephisto, he is very greedy for the soul of the earth. That old guy from Mephisto. The scheming old immortal. No, he can't be cheap. Since the three of me have attacked, one person restrains Ancient One, and one person destroys the holy place, then Odin can't stop it at all, I agree. Hearing this, Dormammu agreed instantly. The three made a steady move, and the long-cherished wish of those years was about to be fulfilled. Dormammu didn't know that it was the god of the underworld who was trapping him, treating him as a thug and a cannon fodder. In case the existence of that bullpen makes a move, he will be the first to run away, a fellow Taoist, not a poor Taoist. Now that Dormammu had agreed, he said goodbye. In this case, I will convince the old fox of Mephisto, and when it is done, I will inform you that we will act together. Dormammu didn't say much. Then wait for the good news from the underworld lord. Goodbye, wait for my good news. The latitude of hell is very large, and Mephisto is also one of the most powerful lords in hell, and his strength is beyond doubt. Like the dark latitude, the wind is roaring and the sun is dark, everything is gray, and occasionally wandering souls are seen. Suddenly a portal appeared here, and a figure suddenly appeared. The nearby spirits do not know that they are about to die again. What an annoying ant, if you see Ben Mephisto doesn't go away, then kill me. After speaking, the underworld god released an energy ray, bang, and the souls of those few souls were scattered in an instant. Master Underworld God hasn't seen you for a long time, so it's not right to kill my soul in the latitude of hell when you come up. The powerful breath of the underworld god appeared in the latitude of hell, and the hell lords naturally felt it instantly, but it appeared in Mephisto's territory and they were too lazy to care. HMPH, it's all ants, do you still care about Mephisto? Underworld god said disdainfully, it's just a group of ants, can Mephisto turn his face? Definitely don't dare to care, I don't know what the lord of the underworld is doing. The god of the underworld is more brilliant than himself and others. Although he won't be killed, is blown up and his face is gone. He Mephisto is good at conspiracy and tricks, and naturally he can bear it. Underworld God said straight to the point. I want to capture the earth, and I have persuaded Dormammu that he is willing to take action. We will share the benefits of the earth equally. What do you think? There is still such a good thing, the lord of the underworld admires the face, why should I continue it? Well, count me in. Mephisto agreed very readily, not like his character at all. Underworld God muttered in his heart, this product is too abnormal, is there any fraud in it? There are all kinds of calculations between Mephisto, but there is no one good person, he has to guard against it. Hey, it's not like you, why is it so refreshing? The underworld god asked tentatively. I am dissatisfied with the lord of the underworld, my street. Van Gonzalo contract is going to be taken back. Mephisto said this reason. Underworld god nodded. So it is, no wonder you are in a hurry. Then it's settled. I'll go back and prepare, and I'll tell you when I leave. Mephisto nodded. Okay, goodbye, wait for the notice from the lord of the underworld. When the underworld god turned and left, Mephisto took a sip and said disdainfully, these two idiots, they can't even come down with their real bodies, and they attack the earth, who? Mephisto has long seen the invincible figure from the Red Devil's memory, provoking the big guy who controlled the space gem with his bare hands, are you going to die? Everyone in the villa happily ate lunch and shared interesting things that happened in the company. From time to time, there were bursts of pleasant laughter. Chen Shi was not idle either. He called Bon and asked him to arrange for Wanda and Pietro to go to school. They are now at the school age. It is very important to study and learn knowledge. They can have no diploma, but they cannot have no culture. Bon on the other end of the phone patted his chest and said repeatedly, you can rest assured Chairman, the teaching quality and teaching equipment of our umbrella are the best at present, you can rest assured. Chen Shi is naturally reassured about his own school, and there is no better choice than his own. You're right, you can arrange it first, and let them enroll tomorrow, just take a class. Understood, Chairman. Bane on the other side of the phone nodded respectfully. Hanging up the phone, Chen Shi said to the two of Wanda, Wanda, Pietro, I will send you to school tomorrow, you are the age to go to school. When the two of Wanda heard it, their faces slumped. Going to school. That's so unreliable. Brother, can't we study at home? It's hard to go to school and it's not free, so we don't want it. Wanda immediately jumped on Chen Zai's body and shook it, acting coquettishly. That's right, we don't want to go, we can study at home. Okay. Pietro also helped. Chen Shi rubbed Wanda's little face vigorously, unmoved at all. This little tender face feels so good. No, school is the happiest time in the process of growing up, how can I not experience it? For example, I am especially nostalgic for that period of youth. Chen Shi said firmly, looking back on the past, there are too many memories of that green time, and the smiling faces seem to be just yesterday. He would also create a dream for himself, he said to his tablemate. Hey, buddy, I had a dream, I dreamed that I have a lot of wives. The tablemate just smiled and said to him, stop dreaming, the teacher is watching you. When Wanda saw Chen Shi, she was in a trance, as if she remembered something. Is this a memory of her school days? Maybe it's not bad to go to school. I can't twist my arms around my thighs, so I said resignedly, okay, let's listen to my brother and go to school tomorrow. When Pietro saw his sister say this, he could only helplessly obey her sister's thoughts. Disobedient, not afraid of hitting, he could also tell that her sister was really hammering hard. After going to school was settled, Chen Shi went to the yard to bask in the sun, and they went to work. System, open the properties panel. Ding, please look at the master. Owner, Chen Shi. Age, realm, level God Father Peak Immortal and Immortal. Strength, 500,000. Stamina, unlimited. Spirit, 400,000. Ordinary adults set the attribute to 1. Constitution, Ancient Doomsday Gene. Ability, Magnetic Field Control, Shapeshifting Simulation, Telepathy, Mirror Space, Psychokinesis, Space Teleportation Magic, Astral Projection, Super Strength, Super Speed, Flight of Light, Super Defense, Supervision, Super Hearing, Perspective, Searing Sight, Super Roar, Local Temperature Control, Space Law 25% Teleportation, Space Teleportation Origin Magic Power. Items, Tesseract, Phone Silly Girl, T1000, Space Gem, Vibranium 100 tons. Looking at the slight increase in attributes, Chen Shi knows that the sun has not been in vain these few months. Although Clark's exposure time is 10 or 8 years shorter than Clark's, and Clark also has the aura of the protagonist, Clark is still much worse than himself. Chen Shi was delighted to see that ability had a powerful boost such as Origin Magic Power. Superman would be able to do magic, and no one could stop him. Just when Chen Shi was squinting and enjoying the afternoon sun, the clone butler came. Master, an old man came outside and said that he had something to meet, and he seemed to appear out of nowhere. The housekeeper said a little about the details. Naturally, such a person will not come to the door for no reason, and there must be a major event to seek the owner. Oh, it's a rare guest, please come in. Chen Shi sensed the evil aura of the man outside after a little sense. Soon, the butler came in with a gentleman in a well-dressed suit with a cane. Hello, Mr. Chen Shi, I am unsolicited and take the liberty to disturb me. Please forgive me. Mephisto is indeed an old fox. Although he has many tricks, he still has some qualities. Chen Shi suddenly thought of eunuch Cao, who was a godlike prince to the enemy. On the other hand, when Lao Tzu was a steered dog, his qualities came out immediately. Mephisto, I have long felt strange. When I killed the Red Devil, I felt that he is also your person, and you have mobilized a lot of chess pieces. When Chen Shi killed the Red Devil, the name Mephisto popped into his mind. Haha, sir, you are joking, with you here, whoever comes to this earth will die, how dare I make a fool of myself. Quote, when it comes to chatting, you always have to talk about something that other people like to hear, and Mephisto knows this. That is, with me here, you immortal fellows, you better get away, someday God is not happy, and will go straight to your hometown to hammer you. Chen Shi was not polite, and directly admitted Mephisto's words, which was a cool pretense. Mr. is really quick to talk. You were right, we are your opponents, but this time, Mr., your movement is not small. Mephisto was scolded for immortality, and his heart was naturally angry, but his face did not change at all, and he still said good things in his mouth, this is the devil. Hearing this, Chen Shi felt strange in his heart, so he asked calmly, "What's going on? How did you know? Hell is still in control." 10. Haha, sir, you are joking, I don't know about Mephisto, but Sithon, the god of the underworld, he knows. It got it. Mephisto said something very modestly, holding a hand of the god of the underworld, Sishorn, and wanted to scare Chen Shi, as if this matter was a big deal, and you're going to get involved. The god of the underworld, Sithon. A half-dead guy who was hammered. Didn't he just grab some of his origin magic power, and he's going to come and ask for the crime? Chen Shi pouted, cursing the god of the underworld, Sishorn, for being stingy, and his tone didn't seem to put the god of the underworld at all. Mephisto is the lord of hell, he is not a philanthropist, since he can come to the door, he must have a purpose. Chen Shi naturally won't be fooled by him to bring the rhythm. Is he the kind of person who is slaughtered as a fool? He is the only one who cheated people, how can anyone be cheated? This Mephisto came to the door, isn't it just sent to the door for him to cheat, more fools like this? Mephisto choked, moved his mouth and swallowed again, completely different from his rhythm, and the rhetoric in his mind was useless. Chen Shi just looked at him with a half-smile, waiting for his next words to see what fart he could hold back. Rolling his eyes, Mephisto knew the benefits of not fooling around too much, as long as he kept his bottom line. It's like this, the god of the underworld, Sithon, found Dormammu and me, and he invited us to attack the earth together and devour the earth. Mephisto sold it directly to the god of the underworld, Sithon, regardless of whether the two were still allies. So you sold your teammates directly, how cunning you are. Chen Shi sneered mercilessly. Mephisto, who is thicker than the universe, shrugged and said indifferently, they are doomed to fail, why follow them all the way to the dark, I am still very friendly to the earth. Chen Shi directly interrupted his blind comparison and said straight to the point. Okay, let's stop grinding and testing each other, tell your goals, betray your teammates, what do you always want? Mephisto is not stupid, this showdown, he thought for a while and said, I want the contract of Saint Van Gonzalo, and in the future Ghost Rider will judge the soul, you are not allowed to interfere. Santa Van Gonzalo Covenant, treat any rubbish as a treasure, and want to take it a step further. Chen Shi stood up, shook his head at Mephisto, and said firmly, what do you want to break the Saint Van Gonzalian contract? I will never stop it, it is your thing, Ghost Rider haunts, and it is none of my business, but in the future, hell, must not interfere in the affairs of the earth and disappear from the earth. Hearing Chen Zai's words, Mephisto was overjoyed, knowing that this matter was done, it was worth his groveling. Okay, it's a deal, the time is right, I will take back the Saint Van Gonzalo contract, and I will no longer interfere in anything on earth. Mephisto is very happy, this wave of teammates sold too much value, a piece of information, get Chen Shi regardless of whether he gets back the contract of Santa Van Gonzalo. God of the underworld, I'm sorry, you are doomed to fail, then let me be alone, and Dormammu, I'm sorry, an ambitious guy like you, messing with you is just a dead end. Mephisto thought for a while, he really is the smartest Mephisto, and other Mephistos are not worthy of their shoes. Well, if that's the case, then it's a deal, you all get ready, I'm leaving. When they do, I'll notify you. Mephisto's purpose has been achieved, then he will not stay. Chen Shi didn't want to talk nonsense with this guy and said, okay, it's a deal, we'll wait for your news. Mephisto, holding his cane, turned and walked out. Mustache, Chen Shi suddenly shouted out of nowhere. Mephisto froze for a while, then stopped suddenly, and then he reacted. Mr. Chen Shi, I don't seem to have a mustache, I don't know why you call me. Mephisto turned around quickly, pretending that he heard Chen Zai's shout before he stopped. It's okay, I just shouted casually, and suddenly I thought of a friend, please do it. Chen Shi waved his hand, indicating that he was just talking casually, and let him do whatever he wanted. Okay, bye. This time, Mephisto didn't have hesitation, just teleported with magic, and disappeared quickly. Looking at the place where Mephisto disappeared, Chen Zai's eyes flashed with a sharp light, it was him. He has always wondered that the German tanks of that war had already boiled over, and had a feverish feeling. That group of soldiers, that group of generals are a kind of crazy pathology, at all costs, as if they were fighting for the sake of war. Now everything is revealed. CDAF, it's all about Mephisto, and this guy really is the ultimate conspirator. This guy is too cunning. Other Mephisto developed believers at most, waiting for the opportunity. I didn't expect Mephisto to bewitch so many pieces. Old fox, I will clean up you in the future. For the so-called soul, this guy not only bewitched the German chariot, but also let the Red Devil obey Sebastian Shaw and continued to stir up the situation. I said, why it's so strange. Why does the Red Devil support Shao's neuropathy so much, and the Red Devil is not afraid of Shao? The appearance of Mephisto not only brought news of the god of underworld and Dormammu's attack to Chen Shi, but also made Chen Shi understand that Mephisto is behind many big events. Looks like it's time to tell the Ancient One about this. Although these 3 sand sculptures, Mephisto, can't come in person, they're a piece of shit, but this matter should be managed by the Ancient One and Odin. Chen Shi thought about it for a while. This matter had to pull Odin and Ancient One into the water. He didn't want to do everything. The figure of Kamar Taj, Chen Shi suddenly appeared, and this group of magician chickens jumped. Kamar Taj was hacked. Was this guy too bold? Chen Shi has not been to Kamar Taj for 7 or 8 years, and many newcomers don't know him. No, Chen Dangdang is here. Go and inform the Sorcerer Supreme. Ah, he's the one who was going to tear down Kamar Taj back then. Run. Chen Shi looked at the panicked appearance of these magicians and rolled his eyes. Didn't he beat a few of you back then? As for fear of this, Chen Shi just held his hands like this, watching them jump around, not to mention it was really interesting. In less than a minute, Ancient One appeared, and she, who was traveling in the universe, received the notification and rushed back immediately. Something must have happened, otherwise Chen Shi would not have appeared. As soon as they met, Ancient One hurriedly asked, Chen Shi, is there something big? You haven't come to my Kamar Taj for many years. Seeing Ancient One's appearance as an enemy, Chen Shi didn't want to tease her anymore, and said directly, this time, it's a little troublesome. The god of the underworld, Sishorn, unites with the Hell Lord Mephisto and the Dark Latitude Dormammu to attack the Earth in a few days. The 3 Mephistos joined forces to attack the Earth. It's just a small matter, my darling. What is the big thing in your heart? Is the 5 gods attacking the Earth just a medium thing? How can Tai Tai be able to pretend? The corner of Ancient One's mouth twitched suddenly, a black line on his forehead. This guy is unreliable. I'm going to inform Odin right now that his strength is equal to mine. Fortunately, this group of Mephistos can't come in person and can still deal with it. Anyway, Ancient One is as good as Chen Shi guessed, very good. He has gathered all the big guys in this group of movies, and he will shock the universe with a battle. Ancient One can be said to be a conscientious boss. Just after receiving the information, he knew the seriousness of the problem and went directly to Asgard. Looking at Ancient One who left, Chen Shi continued to sit and get himself a cup of tea, tasting it slowly. This tea was taken from a rare place in the Himalayas, and it was naturally cooler and sweeter than ordinary mountain spring water. Asgard, Ancient One appeared, and was surrounded by Asgard guards at the moment she appeared. Stop. Just when the guards were about to shout loudly, Odin's majestic voice came over. I've seen God King Odin. Ancient One bowed slightly and made a move roar. Odin hurriedly helped him and said, I don't know why Sorcerer Supreme is coming to my Asgard. Odin knew that even though Asgard claimed to be the leader of the 9 realms, that was all boasting by himself and others. The earth is Midgard, and there is no force that dares to say domination. There are too many forces staring at the earth. Who wants to be that early bird? Avertisement. On the other hand, there are ancient ones such as Level God Father on Earth, and God who cooperated with Time Gem and Level Single Universe would not dare to say that they can beat Ancient One. Therefore, Odin's attitude can be said to be quite easygoing, and her Ancient One is no different than herself. God Odin, I just got the news that the god of the underworld, Sithon, and the Lord of Hell, Mephisto, and the Lord of Darkness, Dormammu, are going to invade the earth and devour the earth. I have come here to ask the God King for help. Ancient One didn't need to delay until this kind of thing, bewildered, and straight to the point. This is a big matter, and we must figure it out. It's not a trivial matter. Odin thinks it shouldn't be. This fact is too sudden, like a nerve, it pops out. This is absolutely true, and it was told to me by a being stronger than me on Earth. Ancient One said with certainty, Chen-Shi has known her for decades, how could such an invincible existence deceive her? And deceive her into having candy? The words of the Ancient One made Odin's heart skip a beat. It's hard enough to have an Ancient One on Earth, and now a stronger person has emerged. Well, then congratulations to Midgard, there is an invincible powerhouse to protect. I have to have a good look. It is also impossible for Odin to fully believe Ancient One's words. Such a strong man popped out of the cracks in the stone. It is impossible for him to be so strong that there is no wind. Since this is the case, God King Odin has something to know, we can't delay, let's go now. Ancient One rolled his eyes, and immediately calculated Odin. It was time for this proud old man to let him suffer a loss and frustrate his spirit. The two have their own thoughts, but their bodies are not slow, and they appear in Kamartaj in an instant. Ancient One, are you back so soon? I haven't finished my tea yet. This tea and tea are really good. Seeing Ancient One appear so quickly, Chen-Shi was very surprised. Is this negotiated? Chen-Shi, let me introduce to you, this is the God King Odin of Asgard. Ancient One pointed to Odin, who was tall and full of white hair, but was already in good spirits. Odin, hello, I'm Chen-Shi, and I'm sure I'm getting stronger and stronger. This aura, this figure. Chen Zai's eyes rolled on Odin's body for a long time, as if it were an object, making him comment for a long time. His tone was frivolous and condescending. This is what Chen-Shi intended, and the Ancient One just sent him a voice transmission, saying that Odin was going to test him. This tragic old man wants to test himself. Then why am I being polite to you? Let's see the real trick. You, I'm so pissed off, you still don't have a bit of a strong man's bearing. Ah, you speak frivolously and arrogantly, at least you don't have any respect for the elderly. Chen Zai's words made the arrogant Odin angry. Since he has dominated the 9 realms and his reputation has grown, who dares to be presumptuous? I'm sorry, I've only been a strong man for decades, this so-called strong man really doesn't have the bearing, why don't I go out and fight? Chen-Shi said with a thick skin and a rogue. You, HMPH, okay, let's fight. Come with me. Odin snorted coldly, and flew directly into space at extreme speed. Chen-Shi, be careful, this old guy Odin still has some whole cards. Ancient One reminded her a little, she knew that Chen-Shi was strong, but it's best to be careful. Don't worry, Ancient One, I'm not afraid of Odin, an old fellow with half of his body buried in the ground. After Chen-Shi finished speaking, he chased Odin and rushed into space, away from the Earth. Their battle is to learn from each other, not to attack the Earth, causing damage is not worth it at all. Odin stood still, and directly spoke to Chen-Shi via telepathy, go ahead. I'm a senior, so naturally I'll let you do it first. HMPH, I respect the old and love the young, so you should do it first, don't say I bully the old. Chen-Shi, he is also not a good stubborn, he is more than a mouth-watering gun. Odin, you go down and replace it with a cheap one. Hey, don't blame me for bullying the small, take it. Odin was angry again. After the sound transmission, I started directly. After pulling away, Odin stretched out his right hand to directly condense a golden ray towards Chen-Shi. The ray seemed to lock Chen-Shi. Seeing this, Chen-Shi did not dodge or dodge, his eyes were full of power, and a red sun line of sight went directly to meet the Odin ray. The two rays collided and exploded violently, but no sound was heard. One hit and test, no difference. Odin's tentative blow was easily resolved by Chen-Shi, and he took it seriously. In addition to Odin's power, Odin is proud of his Odin's warfare. Although he has been pampered in recent years, his fighting is still engraved in his bones. Odin quickly approached Chen-Shi and started close combat with Chen-Shi. Unlimited physical strength, the ancient Doomsday known for its strength will fear you in close combat. Every time Odin's attack fell on Chen Zai's vitals, Chen-Shi never did and resisted them all. You attack my head, I attack your head, you attack my waist, and I attack your waist. Boom! The fists of the two bombarded with all their strength, and the vacuum of the universe was blown up, and a sound came out directly. After a few rounds, Chen Zai's lifeless style of play, and the practice of swapping injuries for injuries, made Odin's eggs hurt. Chen-Shi became more and more mad, the wounds on his body healed in an instant, and his breath became stronger and stronger. In addition to basking in the sun, the ancient son of destruction is fighting, endless battles, constantly injured, constantly evolving, he can hit the destruction of the universe, and the real body is immortal. Hey, I've met a lunatic, and his style of play is completely lethal, and his body seems to be evolving infinitely. Any wounds will heal in an instant, and my attack will hit the same part, and I will never be hurt again. With a punch, Odin quickly distanced himself and thought about countermeasures. The power of Odin is blessed by the power of Odin, and Chen-Shi is useless, pure physical power. In close hand-to-hand combat, Chen-Shi won, while Odin was already out of breath. He's old. Chapter 91. Looking at Odin with a red face in the distance, Chen-Shi smiled indifferently. You were really old. Back in the days when he fought in the 9 realms, Odin, who was brave and diligent without fear of death, was gone, and the Odin who singled out the gods' team lost his vigor, and the strong man was in his old age. Hey, whiteheads are not allowed in the world. Seeing that the blue silk on Odin's head has turned into snow, Chen-Shi couldn't help but sigh. Odin, do you want to continue? Chen Zai's telepathy awakened Odin, who was in a trance. Hey, it's really good to be young. I have a formula, we decide the outcome, Odin said loudly. Summoning the artifact that will accompany him all his life, Odin gently stroked it. Old friend, we fought side by side again. I didn't expect to meet such a strong man again in my later years. It's a blessing in life. Gingnir is Odin's weapon, but unfortunately it has been in the dust for many years. Because the 9 worlds are unified, no one can let Odin go all out. As long as the gun of Gingnir is thrown, it will hit the target 100%, and it will never die. Seeing this, Chen-Shi smiled. Roar, Odin shouted loudly, and raised Gingnir with both hands over his head. Odin's power was boiling, and the cosmic energy fluctuated violently over the weekend. He added the power of decomposition and the power of sharpness to Gingnir, which was his all-out effort. Go, Gungnir gun, destroy the enemy, crush the enemy. Odin yelled, and with all his power, he threw Gingnir with all his strength and went straight to Chen-Shi. Chen-Shi still stood there, motionless, indifferent to Gingnir's attack. Poochie. Gingnir passed through Chen Zai's chest and exploded Chen Zai's chest in an instant. No no no, Chen-Shi, what's going on? Why don't you hide? Ancient One was shocked and roared in pain. Chen-Shi, whose chest was shattered by Gingnir, did not die. He did it on purpose, to resist the shot. Ding, the master was attacked by the gun of Gingnir, and began to analyze. The master is immune to Gingnir's must-hit attribute. Ding, the master was attacked by Gingnir's spear and began to analyze it, and the master obtained the ability of Gingnir to hit the target attribute. It only took a few seconds from Chen-Shi being blown in half to Chen Zai's recovery. Ancient Doomsday, invincible. Chen-Shi knows that this marvel can kill himself, and unless OAA erases the concept of death, he will never be killed. What's going on? Chen-Shi, you recovered so quickly. I feel like your breath has risen a lot. Ancient One was just surprised how Roar Chen-Shi was so careless. Half his life was gone, and he was going to use Time Gem to help him recover. If I'm not wrong, it's that he can evolve infinitely, and any second attack will not be able to cause damage, unless one hit kills. And he can also evolve your ability to attack him. No matter how you attack him, he can counter you. Before Chen-Shi could speak, Odin on the side spoke up. This person is invincible. No matter who can kill him, even the 5 gods, they have to hide away when they see him. Odin, you are very smart, you can guess so quickly, you deserve to be the king of God, but unfortunately your calculus has failed. Chen-Shi sarcastically said, this Odin actually wanted to kill him, but unfortunately, the abacus was wrong, so don't blame him. Hearing Chen Zai's words, Odin was silent, and everyone with discernment knew that they were just discussing, and when the point was over, he actually took out the gun of Gingnir, which was already a battle of life and death. Hey, Twoer, my future heir, I tried my best, but I can't sweep away a big enemy for you. Odin sighed in his heart. He knew that Chen-Shi was too powerful and infinitely evolved. Who could be his opponent? I'm sorry, Chen-Shi, I was wrong this time. I sincerely apologize to you. I hope you can let Asgard go. You can choose my treasure trove. Odin knew that his mistake was too big, and he had to bear the corresponding consequences. Excuse Odin, I'm not interested in the treasure in your treasury right now. I'm a man of vengeance, wait a few days to see how you behave. Chen-Shi directly interrupted Odin's apology. Asgard's treasure trove, it's all his. Do you still need Odin to be hypocritical here? Okay, I'll do my best. People are under the roof and have to bow their heads. He wants to think about Asgard. If Chen-Shi is not happy, it will be a disaster. Asgard genocide crisis. Chen-Shi called roar. Ancient One, let's go. Ancient One nodded, and the two opened the door of space and returned to Kamar Taj in an instant. Only Odin was left standing motionless in annoyance. He regretted his behavior, and he could not lose money by stealing chickens. Chen-Shi didn't know that the battle between him and Odin happened to be photographed by the satellite, but the current technology is a bit poor, blurred, and his face can't be seen clearly. Ancient One, don't worry about Odin's lack of effort, he can still grasp the reality. As soon as I came back to Ancient One, I was worried that Odin would not be able to do anything in the back, or even stab him in the back, such as today. You think, he has lived for thousands of years, there is still this judgment, he does not dare to offend me a second time. It should be exactly as you guessed, since you came, this time gem prediction has become more and more inaccurate, hey. Ancient One has a headache. As long as there is Chen-Shi, the timeline is blurry, as if it were changing at any time. Seeing this, Chen-Shi comforted Ancient One by saying, the future has changed, because my future cannot be predicted by time gem, and I don't even know my own future. Okay, I'm leaving, feel free to contact me if anything happens, don't worry, even if they all come down, they can't help me. Before leaving, Chen-Shi said with great confidence, because the ancient era of destruction is immortal and infinitely evolving. Back at the manor, it was already more than 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and this day was really fruitful. Learn about the Mephisto ruse, expose the Mephisto conspiracy, and hit the ruthless Odin. Lying comfortably in the bathtub, Chen-Shi slowly recalled everything that happened today. He was in a good mood, but he felt ragged every time he fought, and he was not happy. Riding on the horse, good clothes are ruined again, you need to change to a vibranium battle suit. Chen-Shi vowed to go to Wakanda after a while, they must have a vibranium battle suit there. Although Chen-Shi in the bath didn't feel at all, his mood fluctuated quite a bit. When he closed his eyes and rested, he fell asleep in a daze. Husband, wake up and eat. It's time to eat, then I'll get up. It turned out that it was time to eat, stretch, and resurrect with blood. This perfect body is too invincible. As soon as Chen-Shi sat down to take up his rice bowl, Peggy asked, why did my husband go this afternoon? Why do you ask that? Chen-Shi asked in confusion. They don't care where they go, is the sun coming out from the west today? Peggy got up, went to her briefcase and took out a few photos, handed them to Chen-Shi and said, look, this was captured by Umbrella's satellite. Chen-Shi took it out and saw that there were only a few small black dots, and he couldn't see anything clearly, but it was a good shot. From the Earth to space, there were a few dark shadows, and he couldn't see anything clearly. Well, it's me. The one in front is Odin. I had a fight with him. This 23-year-old man needs to be cleaned up. Listening to Chen Zai's tone, it was as if he was talking about a trivial matter. Odin in mythology. My God, he really exists. Not only Peggy, but Raven Emma were shocked. I didn't expect that Odin in mythology existed. So do those gods mean that they all exist? Don't look at me, all the gods you think of exist, but they are also worthy of being gods. It's just a group of strong people. Seeing the inquiring eyes of the girls, Chen-Shi spoke with a disdainful tone. With Asgard's ants, Odin and Hela are considered masters, now Thor is just a hammer god, and Loki is an assassin who plays with knives. How come? They are very powerful gods in mythology, how can they be mortals? That's right, their power can destroy the world. All the girls retorted him. Except for Odin, Hela, I don't see it. It's true that a single blow can blow up a tree, not even a mountain. Chen-Shi thought about it. The special effects of the movie are too expensive, so that the performance in the movie is too weak. Cut, we don't believe it. That's right, this is a 1,000-year-old myth here. When Chen-Shi saw that the girls didn't believe it, he couldn't help but say, you will know in a few decades. At that time, the so-called gods will not even be able to beat you. The girls were very excited when they heard this. The gods in myths and legends are not our opponents. Wow, ha ha ha, how can we be so good? Chen-Shi was speechless when he heard the laughter of the girls. Woman, it's too quick to divert your attention. Early the next morning, Chen Shi climbed up from a pile of big balloons with an incomparably powerful will, which was too much of a test for himself. Go downstairs to find Charles already in the living room waiting for him. Why did Charles come so early in the morning? What's the matter? Chen Shi asked strangely. Charles took out today's paper and said, "Look, sir, this is today's paper." Chen Shi took the newspaper and looked at it, and there were several small black shadows of humanity printed on the newspaper. "Sir, are there still powerful beings on Earth that we don't know yet?" Charles asked worriedly. He thought that the current power was the magician of them and Kamar Taj. "Okay, Charles, don't worry, it's me, Ancient One, and Odin. That old boy Odin was dishonest and was taught by me." Chen Shi comforted, and took out yesterday's rhetoric. Sure enough, Charles felt relieved and heaved a sigh of relief. Immediately, he asked curiously, "Odin and the others, these myths really exist, and the world really doesn't know each other more and more?" "Charles, I told you a long time ago, don't limit your vision to this 1/3 of the earth. When the following things are over, I will take you all to learn magic, you are too weak." After Chen Shi finished speaking, he patted Charles on the shoulder and spoke earnestly. Charles nodded fiercely. "I see, sir, our mutant is too weak." "Okay, you are wrong again, mutant is the most powerful, go ahead." "Okay, sir." Charles nodded questioningly and left. Why didn't he notice? After a while, all the girls packed up and went downstairs to eat. There was nothing they could do. They all blamed Chen Shi for not being full every day, and they couldn't help it. After breakfast, Chen Shi wanted to go to the umbrella company with them for the first time, which made the girls feel that the sun really came out from the west. This salted fish mascot didn't take medicine today. The behavior is too abnormal. Don't look, I'll take you to see a precious machine later, which is very useful for our layout. Chen Shi has not been in a car for a long time. He feels that it is too slow and a waste of time. The girls ignored his objections and let him honestly experience a new car of his own. 20 minutes later, Chen Shi finally arrived at the umbrella headquarters in the torment of Chen Shi. Bon had been waiting downstairs for a long time. When he saw Chen Shi getting out of the car of the bosses, he hurried up to meet him. "Mr. Chairman, early ladies, we are ready." Chen Shi nodded. "Let's go, let's have a look together." The girls quickly followed up with a confused look. Today is mysterious. In Umbrella's 2-story basement office near the super healing machine, the vice president of the conservative camp opposed to mutant appeared here. Through Umbrella's hint, he knew that his illness was cured, and his subordinates told him that Umbrella could cure cancer, so he hurried to the door. "Hello, Mr. Bob. Hello, Mr. Chen Shi. Your Umbrella's technology is really amazing. You haven't changed at all in the past 10 years. Bob has greatly touted it. There is nothing you can do if you ask others. Mr. Bob, our machine can treat all diseases, and it's no problem for people to live to 120 years old." Chen Zai's tone was full of bewitching. 120 years old? Mr. Chen Shi, are you sure you're not joking? Bob's complexion suddenly changed greatly, his face flushed, and he asked excitedly. "It's true, otherwise why do you think I haven't changed? Can I use it all the time? I can give you whatever you want." Bob's excited expression assured that life is the existence that many people talk about, and the dream that many emperors think about day and night. "I need Mr. Bob to stand on Mutant's side and spare no effort to support Umbrella in the future." Chen Shi finally stated his purpose. "No problem, I don't know Mutant anyway. Since Umbrella supports Mutant, Mutant must be good for society." Bob didn't say a word, and tried his best to flatter his ass. "Since Umbrella is standing on Mutant, those colleagues are shit, go play." Bob can't wait. The incurable patient's desire for life is beyond everything. "All the fame and fortune go to hell, I just want to live." "Mr. Chen Shi, can we start?" Bob began to urge. For a cancer patient, every day is painful. He discovered cancer early, but he didn't dare to disclose it at all, so he could only take medicine secretly. "Okay, Barn, take him to therapy. By the way, let Mr. Bob keep a video as evidence." Chen Shi directly asked Bon to leave a video before starting the treatment. Can these foxes believe it casually? They are all mothers if they have milk. As long as they benefit from it, they can change their minds at any time, and the president will be impeached. This is the paradise of money, free America, and the world depends on money. Bon immediately found a camera, and Bob cooperated very well. After the filming, Bane took Bob to the treatment, and now Bob can only cheer for Umbrella. The girls also knew what the good thing Chen Shi was talking about, and directly pulled him aside. Peggy was the first to ask, "Husband, this is a good thing that crosses the times, where did you come from?" "Where did it come from? It must have come from me from the future. Where else can it come from?" Chen Shi shrugged, and withdrew a reason casually. "He is too good at fooling people." "Who is he?" "Chen Shenkyun, he." "Wow, hubby, you can really travel through time and space, that's great, can you take us with you?" Traveling through time and space, wow, this is something only in science fiction, and their husbands can actually do it, it's amazing. When Chen Shi heard it, it's still worth it. So he quickly said, "Don't, your body is not good, you won't be able to withstand the pull of time and space, let's talk about it later." Silly girl's time travel function is not applicable to the Marvel world at all, and the time-space law here is not comparable to a magic mobile phone. When the girls heard this, they immediately stopped. "Well, let's talk about it later, I really want to go to the future to see it." Just when everyone was chatting, the otherworldly Latitude universe began to act. Dormammu, Mephisto, get ready, when it will come to Earth, mobilize your believers, cooperate inside and outside, and destroy the 3 holy places. The god of Underworld was ready for a day, let himself into a perfect state, and directly found Mephisto, the 2 latitudes of Mephisto and Dormammu. "Understood, Lord Underworld God can rest assured, as long as I give an order, they will act immediately." Dormammu's huge face, with its pitted elements, is full of pride. Mephisto looked at these 2 sand sculptures with contempt in their hearts. In Umbrella Corporation, Chen Shi suddenly moved, and then nodded secretly. "Ancient One, the other party has begun to act, let people protect the 3 holy places, the people who handed it over to me in the holy place in New York, let the people in Odin go to the holy place in London." After receiving Mephisto's voice transmission, Chen Shi immediately informed Ancient One to get ready. The god of the underworld, Sishorn, began to send assists, all of which were within Chen Zai's calculations. "Understood, this will be arranged." Ancient One received the sound transmission and nodded lightly. Chen Shi turned around again and said to his wives, "Wives, when the ancient evil god, the Lord of Hell, and the Lord of Darkness will attack the earth, I will send you to the holy place on Shang Island to clean up the group of believers who have fallen into darkness." Oh. All the girls who were chatting were stunned, what was going on? They were fine just now, but why are they suddenly evil gods and hell again? "After the matter is over, I'll explain it to you again, this time it's all under my control, don't worry." Chen Shi looked at their incredible faces and explained quickly. "Wow, hubby, is this true? It's great to get acquainted." After a short period of confusion, the girls suddenly became excited. Mephisto. Seeing his wife suddenly felt like a different person, Chen Shi was relieved, and the group of miscellaneous soldiers happened to be practicing for his wife. Chen Shiji immediately opened the space door and brought the girls to the holy place of Shangdao. At this moment, Ancient One also took the disciples to guard here. Ancient One almost dropped his jaw when he saw a group of Chen Shi with the women's army. What the hell? Chen Shi knew what she was thinking when he saw the surprised expression on Ancient One's face. So he said, "Don't be surprised, their ability is no worse than your magician, you will know at that time, don't worry, everything has me." Since Ancient One has said so until Chen Shi, what else is there to say? These are his wives, and he cares more than anyone else. "Wives, you follow Kamar Taja's magician, that group of rubbish is not your opponent, just beat them to the death." Chen Shi warned again. "Okay, husband, go ahead and do your work first, we will cooperate well, don't worry." The girls were quite excited about the upcoming battle, and they were about to rust. Chen Shi nodded, and a teleport returned directly to the manor, his base camp. "Eric, Charles, you brought all the young artists here, you have a mission." Chen Shi went home to the manor and made all the mutants gather through voice transmission. Soon, all the mutants came. As soon as they heard that they had a task, they were all gearing up. After training for so long, they could finally show their skills. "Boss, if you have any task, please order it quickly, we are always ready," Eric said loudly on behalf of the restless youth. "Very good, I'm not surprised or scared by your state. You haven't practiced in vain in the past few months. The next thing is the actual combat. I want to show people in the United States that you're heroes. Do you understand? Standing in front of them, Chen Shi sounded like a general who issued an order. Understood, boss. We are heroes, and we have to prove to America that we're heroes. The mutant youths roared loudly in unison. This is the momentum they should have. Okay, X-Team set off with me. After Chen Shi finished speaking, he took this group of young people into the holy place in New York, where someone had already received them. The invasion of the god of the underworld, Sichorn, just fulfilled Chen Zai's wish. There is no major event in Zhengzhou to make mutant a hero, and there is no sufficient reason to establish shield. Just when Chen Shi and the others had just arranged everything, America, on a sunny day, was shrouded in darkness without warning. The ancient gods of the underworld, the lords of hell, and the lords of darkness are here. The whole world fell into darkness, the day turned into night, and the night was even more invisible, and the whole earth fell into huge amounts of panic. In the west, countless people fell into darkness, watching the lightning and thunder in the air, and fell into madness. Oh, God, is this the end of the world? Ha ha ha, let's all die together. God has come to destroy the evil in the world. My lord, didn't you say that God loves the world? Hurry up and dispel the darkness. It was night in the east, and the pitch-black world thundered, and the apocalyptic scene woke them up from their dreams. Ha ha ha, is this the end of the world? Let's all die together. Anyway, I can't afford a house, I can't afford a car, no one wants it. Dare to ask fellow Taoist who is here to transcend the calamity. Is this spiritual revival? Ha ha ha, I want to do it every day, I am the protagonist. At the moment, the whole world is crazy, the world is playing out at this moment. Slowly, countless people on the street finally fell into sluggishness, fear, and panic. 3 incomparably huge amounts of demon heads appeared in the air, as if they were bigger than the entire earth. The whole world fell silent, the world lost its voice, they stopped all movements, the devil really came. At this moment, the dark sky of the whole earth has faded from black, and the sky slowly turned scarlet and began to cover the earth. The believers in the dark latitudes will do their best to destroy the 3 holy places, at all costs. The spirit of Dormammu radiated the whole earth. No matter who it was or what language it was, they could hear it clearly. They understood that the demons had invaded the earth in their manner. They are panicking, because they don't know who the so-called believers are and will be slaughtered in a frenzy. The street began to smash and smash, it seemed to be the last madness, and countless people were scared crazy. Earth is over. Mother Star is over. Who will save the earth? Save us. What to do? What to do? Ha ha ha, let's all die together. At this moment, when countless people could see the sky just by looking up, an image was revealed. This is magician. They are fighting against demons. Who are those Guliang, so powerful? You see, that's mutant, that's Magneto Eric, and they're fighting demons too, and they're protecting us without fear of death. It turns out that the talents we hate and fear, CDCJ, are not afraid of sacrifice at critical moments. We blame them wrongly. We are not human, we are not human. Look, that's Thor, Asgard's Thor. It turns out that God really exists. Haha, God has not abandoned us, the devil is vulnerable. Yes, when everyone fell into despair, Ancient One projected all the battles on the earth, telling them that there is still hope for mankind. Countless believers rushed to the 3 holy places without fear of death. They have lost their minds and are all puppets. Magneto manipulated a sharp sword to pierce the heads of one fanatical believer, which didn't scare anyone off. The blood spurred them all crazy. Shockwave, emitting energy lasers, and sending out terrifying ultrasonic waves from his mouth, Hank swept left and right with the vibranium stick, and Helen's water jet cut gold and cracked rocks. These terrifying attacks are as simple as slaughtering ordinary believers to chop melons and vegetables, but there are many believers who know black magic, and they are not so easy to kill. The battle on the Shangdao side is much easier, it's completely a show of women. This woman is too powerful, with a dragon at hand, those people are directly vaporized. Look at the other one, darling, with one move, the area is frozen for dozens of meters. The enemies have become ice sculptures. And that blonde beauty summoned the gods out of thin air. He is Thor, right? He specializes in defeating this group of dark magicians. The battle of the girls is too simple. They are also long-range magicians, and those dark believers are like chickens and ducks, pinching them to death. Similarly, near the holy place in London, the lightning attribute is really too restrained from dark magic. The powerful force, combined with the powerful thunder and lightning, makes the child like a no man, and the global live broadcast let him install a turbo, just to pretend to be the limelight, this child. Loki, who was nearby, saw his brother being so pushy and pretentious, and shook his head speechlessly. Then Loki fell into the void, took his own knife, and started his own stabbing business. The elusive Loki will harvest a crispy magician's life with every knife. The god of underworld, who was watching the battle of the three holy places, almost died of anger. How to fight this? People were very well prepared, but he was caught off guard. Originally, I wanted to use a sneak attack to break through the three holy places in one fell swoop, and the real body came to the earth. The eyes of the god of the underworld, Sishorn, have been sweeping around Mephisto's body, and the knife-like eyes make Mephisto feel cold all over. At this time, if he didn't know that Sithon, the god of the underworld, had leaked the rumors, he would be a fool if he didn't know that Mephisto betrayed him. Good you Mephisto, how dare you betray us? How much benefit did you get, making you bolder than the earth? The god of the underworld, Sishorn, gritted his teeth and roared, his eyes devouring people, as if he wanted to eat Mephisto abruptly. Hee, Lord Sishorn, god of the underworld, is it a good thing for you to treat us as cannon fodder? You have your own purpose, and I also have my own little abacus, so don't dislike anyone else. Mephisto's eyes narrowed, and he unceremoniously sneered at Sithon, the god of the underworld. This guy is not a good god, but a bad puss. You, wait for me, clean up the earth and I'm looking for you to settle accounts. The god of the underworld, Sithon, was so taunted by Mephisto that he was about to go up and kill him, but the enemy had to endure it abruptly. Idiot, I'm waiting. Mephisto gave him a disdainful glance, turned and left, back to hell. These two idiots didn't know the horror of that person at all, but he stood beside Chen-Shi and felt it personally. It was a burning power that was even hotter than fixed star. Sithon and Dormammu looked ugly as Mephisto left, the traitor. They don't have time to care about Mephisto now, they can only settle accounts after the fall, and now the focus is to forcibly break through the latitude blockade of the three holy places. They have confidence, because there is no doubt about the power of the underworld. Sishorn and Dormammu didn't know that, in any case, even if they couldn't break through the blockade of the latitude passage by the holy place, Chen-Shi would release water to let them in. In the holy place of New York, Dormammu lent more of his energy to their believers. After 5 minutes, these overloaded dark magicians will cause their mission and fall into the embrace of darkness forever. The suicidal attack caused great damage to the mutants, and they were all wounded and invincible. Ancient One and Odin wanted to support the holy place in New York when they saw that the situation was wrong, but all the dark magicians started to explode like crazy. They wanted to control their own security. They can only hope that Chen-Shi will make a move, or that one more minute of the mutants will be enough. Okay, Eric, take someone to tear it down, don't fight anymore, go back to the manor. Chen-Shi knew that mutant couldn't continue to resist at this time, otherwise how could he let those two matches come in? Got it, boss. Eric immediately roared loudly. The mutant team immediately hides and retreat, and return to the manor. The young artists who couldn't stand it for a long time heard the words, heaved a sigh of relief, and hurriedly retreated while fighting, and soon withdrew from the battlefield. Seeing the dark magician army retreating from mutant was overjoyed and was about to blow up the holy place in New York. At this time, a different appearance of Chen-Shi appeared, only to see Chen-Shi controlling the ruins on the ground and smashing towards the group of dark magicians. It definitely worked well, several were killed immediately, and most of them survived. When everyone saw this, they were powerful and ferocious, and they used self-destruction tactics. They rushed to Chen-Shi and started to self-destruct. Seeing the opposite person rushing towards him without fear of death, Chen-Shi raised his leg and kicked this person to the door of the holy place. Boom! The person who was kicked blew himself up, and there seemed to be cracks in holy place's defensive formation. At this time, Dormammu and Hades seemed to see hope, and Hades lent his power directly to the remaining magicians. They are not like the devious Mephisto, who have duplication on Earth and can only destroy the passage. Mephisto stepped up the attack. Chen-Shi will naturally fulfill their purpose. Chen-Shi seems to be entangled in the outside world, but he is actually fishing. 2 minutes later, Under the suicidal attack of everyone magician, the defense of the holy place in New York finally couldn't stand it anymore, as if it shattered like glass. Ha ha, finally broke the defense, the earth is ours. Dormammu shouted excitedly. How many years, he could not remember for a long time, he was the necromancer of the earth, countless days and nights, just thinking about swallowing the earth and becoming a member of the Dark Latitude. In contrast, the joy of Pluto is much less than that of Dormammu, and he knows that this is the beginning. The sand sculpture of Dormammu was simply deceived by him. He didn't know that there was a big guy in secret to help the earth, and a fierce battle was coming. The moment the holy place in New York was destroyed, Ancient One sensed it. This time, the defense of New York's holy place has been broken, and it can't be stopped. Not only the Ancient One, but Odin also sensed it. Those dark magicians that were not dead receded like water, and the mission was completed. Dormammu didn't want to break all his back hands. Ha ha ha, the mortals of the earth, my ancient god of the underworld, Lord Sishorn, is back again. Ha ha ha, earthling mortals, my dark lord Dormammu is finally back. Without Ancient One's reminder, the entire earth heard two arrogant roars. In the eyes of everyone, the two huge heads that were still outside the sky seemed to have entered the inner space of the real universe, and that coercion directly caused ordinary people to kneel directly. Seeing the countless mortals kneeling on the ground, the two demons laughed even more proudly. Odin, it's our turn to go. I don't know why Chen Shi went, no one is there. Ancient One said something to Odin in a depressing manner, and rushed directly in front of the two Mephistos. Compared to the gigantic Mephisto figure, Ancient One's body was as small as a tiny one, but Ancient One was not afraid of lameness. On the other hand, Odin naturally rushed in front of the two Mephistos. He was old, but he was not cowardly, and he knew that his lips were dead and his teeth were cold. You must win. God bless them. Countless people are praying for the indomitable two people, this is their last hope. Okay, as expected of the Ancient One magician and Odin God King, brave and fearless, we will definitely recruit you. Roar. After Dormammu finished speaking, he pulled everyone into his dark space, which was his home ground. Ancient One, give you one last chance, I know that you have been borrowing my energy, you might as well go to me directly, you will be stronger. Dormammu still wants to confuse Ancient One, the powerful sorcerer supreme, into his dark camp. It's useless to talk about it, let's go to war directly. In fact, we are really not the strongest, even if I and Odin combined are not opponents of that person. Ancient One said with a light expression on his face. What do you mean? Ancient One, you said there are stronger ones. How is this possible? Dormammu roared furiously. Ancient One gave him a contemptuous look. Idiot, you still want to devour the earth. Dormammu finally understood. He was tricked by the god of the underworld, Sithon. No wonder Mephisto turned his back on the battlefield. What is he? It turns out that Joker is himself. Point 0. God of the underworld, waiting to go back, Dormammu glared at the god of the underworld, knowing that now is not the time. Ancient One, eat my blow-folding flame. Dormammu's giant head directly released the dark magic flame, and the long black flame column rushed towards Ancient One with lightning speed. Ancient One slid both hands, and immediately condensed huge amounts of Seraphine's shield to resist this fire attack. Boom! The shield shattered and the fire extinguished, and the energy slowly disappeared like glass fragments. Dormammu knew that Ancient One was not so easy to deal with, and unleashed his ultimate again. Darkness. Expel. Just after Dormammu roared, the boundless dark energy began to gather around Ancient One, slowly forming a black hole, trying to drive Ancient One directly to the Dark Latitude. Hee, Dormammu, you know such a bad move. Ancient One sneered. Space exile. Ancient One shouted and used the space exile directly near the black hole to transfer the black hole. The fight is in full swing here, and the battle between Odin and Hades is even more intense. Since Odin suffered a loss last time, he brought the Destroyer, wearing the Destroyer armor and holding Gungnir. Odin's combat power is full. Odin seems to be back in the state where he challenged the gods. Because the god of the underworld, who is less than half of his combat power, is also the leader of the level single universe, so he must go all out. The power of Odin and Origin magic power have many similarities, both can emit energy, create or resurrect life, decompose or repair objects to create force fields or shields, psychokinesis, etc. Wearing the destroyer armor, Odin sent out a beam of splitting beams that directly attacked the 100-meter-high Hades. The huge amounts of underworld god is not the kind of mortal who is tall and clumsy, on the contrary, his speed is quite fast. The first strike of the split beam did not hit the god of underworld, but when the second strike arrived, the god of underworld directly condensed the scarlet magic shield to resist. The magic shield shattered instantly, and the reckless Odin continued to shoot split beams. The god of underworld was suddenly angry. You thought it was a shooting game, keep shooting. The underworld god ignored it, condensed a layer of shield and charged directly at Odin. His hands were covered with scarlet origin magic power, and he would use melee attacks to annihilate Odin little by little. 653. Seeing this, Odin was also not cowardly, and directly added the power of decomposition to Gungnir to fight with the god of underworld. Not far away, Dormammu and Ancient One are much more elegant, and the two are purely magic long-range attacks. The only disadvantage of Ancient One is that its body is too weak, and its energy is not infinite, it can't consume Dormammu. Eye of Agamotto, back in time. A flash of green light flashed, and Ancient One returned to its previous state of time, which she used to restore her mana. Haha, Ancient One, I don't believe how many times your time gem can be recovered, you can recover infinitely. Dormammu sees that the Ancient One has been used many times to go backwards in time, but each time the amount of recovery is less. Dormammu constantly uses material transformation, condensing various weapons to attack the Ancient One, and every time the Ancient One collides with him, it is consumed. Dormammu's energy is endless. Dormammu had already surpassed time, and time had no effect on him, otherwise he wouldn't be bothered by Doctor Strange in the future. Ancient One was in constant crisis, and seemed to be running out of steam, and Odin wasn't much better. The constant bombardment of origin magic power has caused many gaps in his Gungnir, and many loopholes in the destroyer. The two fought each other again, and Odin pulled the distance again, and yes, he was going to fight. If he does not try his best to injure the underworld god, his Gungnir will be destroyed. With the blessing of the destroyer's magical energy, the power of Odin worked at full force, and threw Gungnir at the huge heart of the underworld god. This blow directly crossed the space and instantly appeared at the heart of the underworld god. Underworld god didn't have time to react, his evasion was useless, and Gungnir's 100% hit was no joke. Flutter. Gungnir runs through the chest of the god of the underworld, as if through the heart you can see the scenery behind. The 100-meter giant underworld god froze and knelt down on one knee. This fatal blow seriously injured him. This duplication is still too weak. Odin, who launched the final blow, knew that he had no power to fight back, and used his last strength to teleport out of the dark space. Human beings who were in a state of anxiety suddenly found a figure in the air quickly falling down. Isn't this the god King Odin? No, no, no. The King of Gods is defeated. How can the King of Gods be defeated? Then where should human beings go? God, will the earth lose its light from now on? The people under the sky have begun to panic. They are afraid, they panic. There is only one person on the human side fighting. Can she be the opponent of the two Mephistos? Obviously not. They can only wait quietly, as if they are lambs to be slaughtered, waiting for the judgment of Mephisto at the end of the day. Umbrella Manor and Mutant Team were only slightly injured. Chen Shi used origin magic power to sweep them away, and their skin injuries recovered as before. Husband, what should I do? Odin has already lost. Ancient One is definitely not their opponent. Husband, hurry up and take action. You can't be beaten by everyone. Husband, Chen Shi heard the women's worry urging worry, like a trivial matter. Chen Shi had to comfort his little wives. All right, little fairies, don't worry, they're not worth mentioning. What is a savior? That is, when everyone is in despair and does not hold any expectations, the person who is born to save the world is the savior. If he shoots now and defeats the two Mephistos, he will only be a hero, not a savior. Ancient One and Odin are the perfect tool people. Their strength brings hope to all, and their failure brings despair to all. As long as Chen Shi waits for the failure of the two and everyone is desperate, he will bring him the greatest assist. The earth, that is the center of all worlds, the ancestors of countless traversers, and the masters of cultivation, who dares to come to the earth to be arrogant? Don't look at the earth as a planet that is only a mere first-level civilization. but in the eyes of a real advanced civilization, this is the forbidden area of life. In the dark space, the god of the underworld, Sishorn, who was severely injured by Odin, was using origin magic power to repair his body at a very high speed. If his body was not tall enough, he would have to return to his old nest with this blow. On the other hand, Ancient One has used the time backwards for the 15th time, and this time it only recovered 10% of its energy. No wonder Doctor Strange is called the Doctor of the Holy Ruins, because the body of the Earth Magician is too weak. Dormammu's energy, Ancient One, can't be borrowed at all, and in a few more rounds, Ancient One will be defeated. Haha, Ancient One eats me again, energy projection, cursed fire. Dormammu released his ultimate move again, extracting a large amount of dark energy from the dark latitude, burning a terrifying black flame, and wherever he went, all the dark energy burned at an extreme speed. This time, Ancient One knew that in Dormammu's space, teleportation could not be used, so he could only resist. He added a seraphim shield to himself, and then cast Mirror Latitude. Boom! The shield is broken. Boom! Mirror Latitude broken. Dormammu's cursed fire finally dissipated. Ancient One looked at the energy that was about to be exhausted, and performed the last big move. Mirror Space Tier. The space where Dormammu was located was directly like a smooth and transparent mirror, shattered with a bang, and Dormammu's energy body was also pitted. Ancient One muttered to himself, Chen Shi, Odin and I do our best. The fate of mankind will be entrusted to you. She used the time backward to recover the last bit of strength, and escaped from the dark latitude with space teleportation. Like Odin, she fell powerless from the air and was rescued by Magician again. Do not. No. Countless people saw the fall of the Ancient One, as if to make a final roar. They have completely failed. The last hope of mankind seems to have been extinguished, and everyone slumped to the ground with blank eyes, like Walking Dead. At the time of despair, a voice suddenly came from between the universe and the mind. Don't you know that you must always believe in the existence of light? Should we always believe in the existence of light? A sentence is deafening. Maybe this word is very second in the future, but now in this darkest moment of Scarlet, isn't that the greatest hope? Yes, we must always believe in the existence of light. Boom. The burning belief is rising. Others may not feel it, but Chen Shi can really feel it. This is the belief of the human race that is burning, and the two Mephistos dare to be presumptuous. With the luck of the world, Chen Shi is the last hope of mankind. The burning power of faith directly pushes Chen Zai's realm to the single universe, and constantly rises. Chen Shi soared into the sky. The blazing crimson light pulled the elders, that light ignited everyone's hope and ignited passion. Come on, last god, come on, with the last hope of mankind. Come on, with the blessings of all mankind. Everyone below prays silently for Chen Shi, praying that he can defeat the evil and dispel the darkness. Ancient One and Odin, staring at Chen Shi who is flying at high speed in the air, are silent. They believe in him, invincible in battle and invincible. They believe that Chen Shi, who can evolve infinitely, even the 5 great gods of creation will tremble under his feet. In dark space comprehension, Sithon and Dormammu have recovered quickly from their injuries. This is Latitude Mephisto. Latitude will not die, Mephisto will live forever. What's going on with the underworld god? Why do I feel a little bad? The faith of mankind has risen sharply. Dormammu immediately noticed that the beliefs of mankind had returned, and their beliefs had already pierced through the sky. Come on, did the super powerhouse Ancient One and Mephisto talk about appear? You've tricked me to death. Dormammu suddenly remembered that the strong man who turned Mephisto into battle is here. Underworld god squinted at Dormammu and said slowly, you can run away now, don't wait for that person to catch up to your dark latitude to kill you. Idiot, now that you and I join forces, there is still a chance to kill him. If you run away now, just wait till you die. On the surface, the god of Underworld is neither impatient nor impatient, but in fact a group of people panicking in their hearts. The people who robbed him of origin magic power are really here. God of the Underworld Sithorn. Dark Lord Dormammu, are you impatient to come to Earth? Just when the two of them were each having a ghost, Chen Zai's voice appeared in the dark space. It's you. Where's the person behind you? Ah, no, you're the super strong that Ancient One said. When the god of Underworld saw Chen Shi, he was immediately shocked. When he saw Chen Shi clumsily using origin magic power, he thought he was a rookie. This is so special, this kid is so difficult to deal with, how powerful are the people behind him? It's really a little bit of a escape this catastrophe, and will never come to Earth again, and I will go wandering in the future. No one can find me. Mingxian, your uncle, you made me miserable by riding a horse. Apart from this kid, there are strong people behind you that you can't handle. I'll wipe your uncles, I'm not finished with you. Dormammu knew when he saw Sithon's expression, it turned out that someone else stole his origin magic power. And this kid is also a super strong. Dormammu, don't make a fool of yourself, don't hurry up, or you will wait for him to come and face him alone, idiot. Sithon scolded loudly, how can there be internal strife at this time? Unite. Humph. Dormammu snorted coldly, agreeing. Hey, I said whether you two would fight or not, but I'll give you the right words, don't you screech. Chen Shi was about to die of boredom. He didn't do anything, and the two were at war. Looking for death. Arrogance, give me death, Annihilation Ray. The god of the underworld, Sishorn, was furious, and came up with an Annihilation Ray. Several bucket-thick scarlet rays blasted towards Chen Shi at high speed, vowing to annihilate him. Chen Shi also followed suit, manipulating the half-baked scarlet energy group to meet him. Idiot. The underworld god laughed when he saw this, is this person also a super strong? Boom. The energy ball in Chen Zai's hand was instantly swallowed up by the energy of the god of underworld, and the annihilation ray slammed straight into him. Boom. That's right, Chen Shi was directly blown away, and his clothes were annihilated. It is estimated that he became an atom directly. Ding, the master is attacked by origin magic power, starts to analyze, and the master begins to be immune to origin magic power damage. Ding, the master is attacked by origin magic power and begins to analyze, the master can absorb origin magic power energy. Sure enough, the work is beautiful, the future origin magic power can only provide energy for itself, isn't the power bank here? Huh, what's the situation? I just broke my skin a little bit by taking a move from me. Sishorn dropped his jaw in shock. Hey, come again. Sishorn, with his hands into claws, slowly lifted up, the endless origin magic power energy gathered, and Chen Zai's space began to crack. Origin magic power. Space obliteration. As Sithon's voice fell, a large amount of space was directly annihilated under the intervention of origin magic power, and the dark space was directly broken into a hole. The next moment, Dormammu was not idle either, he also used his big move while Sishorn was exerting his strength. Darkness, exile. The space that had been shattered now gathered black holes and began to burst at an extreme speed, as if to devour Chen Shi. Don't you know, I have the space gem. After Chen Shi finished speaking, blue light flashed, Chen Shi teleported away, and the dark space could not stop the supreme law. Ah, misstep, look at my cursed fire. Go, burn him. Disappointed, Dormammu released the cursed fire to attack Chen Shi again. Seeing this, Chen Shi was overjoyed, and he was a rich boy again. He didn't dodge or evade, and waited in place. Boom, the dark fire hit Chen Shi directly. Ding, the master was attacked by the dark fire element and began to analyze, and the master is immune to dark fire damage from now on. Ding, the master was attacked by the dark fire element, and began to analyze, the master obtained the fire element ability, integrated into the temperature control. Dormammu was dumbfounded, what is this person's body made of? Origin magic power broke the skin, did his own fire type attack scratch him? Seeing this, Sishorn, did this special energy attack beat his back and squeeze his shoulders? I don't believe that your soul is also invincible, attack your soul directly. Origin magic power, the source of fear. Sishorn unleashed a burst of scarlet energy that directly enveloped Chen Shi. Because they found that no matter how they attacked, Chen Shi would directly resist. Ding, the master was attacked by origin magic power, began to analyze, and the master began to absorb origin magic power energy. Chen Shi was very satisfied with Sishorn, a wealthy boy who was part-time as a power bank, so he shouted at him, hey, brother, go on, thank you for sending me energy from iron juice. Sithon was dumbfounded, this person's soul is also invincible. Or is he immune to origin magic power? It's so annoying, I can't beat it, I'm going to blow myself up, I'm going to commit suicide. The god of the underworld, Sishorn, has been tortured crazy by Chen Shi. Physical attacks are ineffective. Soul attacks are also ineffective. Brother, can you not play like this? Sishorn, cheer up, we haven't lost yet, there's still a chance. Seeing Sithon so annoyed that he was about to collapse, Dormammu hurriedly woke him up. Rider, if you collapse, why don't I have to follow the unlucky? Sishorn, this time you killed him. Waste. We've teamed up to unleash a reality warp and distort him straight into an atom. Listen to me. Okay, let's try one last time. Chen Shi is waiting for these two guys who are about to collapse to make the last desperate fight, waiting for them to launch the strongest attack. Origin magic power, reality warping. Dark magic, reality bending. Suddenly, an invisible rule energy enveloped Chen Shi with all his might. If he wanted to change the reality, he directly turned Chen Shi into an atom. This is a kind of the power of rules, like saying you are a pig, slowly, when your body can't resist, then you become a pig. The power of rules that enveloped Chen Shi tried to destroy Chen Zai's body directly. This time, Chen Zai's body began to slowly disappear, first the feet, then the calves. The pain that pierced his heart, when he was unbearable, the ancient Doomsday gene began to repair quickly. Ding, the master is attacked by the reality distortion ability, and begins to analyze, and the master begins to be immune to reality distortion attacks. Ding, the master is attacked by the reality distortion ability, and begins to analyze, the master gains the reality distortion ability. Hearing the system's prompt, Chen Shi was overjoyed. The pain was not in vain. These two sand sculptures joined forces to use a reality distortion move, and they wanted to kill him forcibly and directly let him get a big move. Fake squid. Sishorn and Dormammu were initially thrilled to see Chen Shi slowly disappearing. But what's so special? Suddenly it's fine, back to normal, can you believe it? They have passed countless years, and they have never seen such a perverted guy. What's the fun? Who are you? What kind of ability does this have, and why can you evolve infinitely? Dormammu collapsed directly. If it wasn't for the flame body, he would have fallen to his knees and started crying. Stop howling, Dormammu, did you just say infinite evolution? Sishorn directly interrupted Dormammu's collapse and wailing, and asked loudly. Dormammu felt extremely uncomfortable, so he blamed this idiot. What the, you dare to yell at me? Yes, labor and capital are talking about infinite evolution, you are endlessly riding on horses, and you are yelling at me. Fight with you. Chen Shi watched the two begin to fight again, and it was also very painful. So many years of life made them only learn to attack each other. Ha ha ha, infinite evolution, I am not wronged, there are countless universes, you are waiting for God. The god of the underworld, Sishorn, laughed loudly, they are gods, they know that there is no God, that is just what mortals call roar to these gods. Now, their gods have welcomed their gods, ha ha ha, the gods of all gods. Infinite evolution. What did I just say is infinite evolution? Hey, I was forced to say nonsense. It's not wrong for us to lose. Sithon and Dormammu have given up their resistance, and they can't even raise their feelings of resistance. Are you still fighting? If you don't, I'll do it, two middle-year-old Mephistas. Looking at the listless and dismal Mephista, Chen Shi directly attacked. Don't fight, it's a meaningless fight, even if you stand and let us fight, we can't kill you, don't want to work hard. Sishorn and Dormammu quickly waved their hands, surrendered and conceded defeat, what a shit. Oh, so, do you have any last words to say? I won't be merciful, and I will definitely not help you complete your last words. The two Mephistas looked at each other and suddenly burst into laughter, their voices full of schadenfreude and infinite desolation. Suddenly, the energy in the dark space fluctuated sharply, and a large area of destruction began to appear. Let our destruction welcome the coming of our God. Boom! The two Mephistas blew themselves up, and they didn't want to flee back with a broken body, shameless, and unnecessary, a magic element body, worthless. Let our self-destruction help God, this may be the ending of our future, let's rehearse in advance. The voices of the two Mephistas traveled far away, and the endless multi-universe seemed to hear the final bleakness of the two Mephistas. What is the birth of their god of gods? It only took a few hours from Sithon's attack on the earth to the end. The eyes of countless multifaceted bigwigs and the future are over. As for their final tragic voice, they naturally dismissed it, they were just too trash. What God? We're God. Earth is saved. Mephisto retreats. The silent Earth came to life with a bang. Everyone was excited with tears in their eyes, and everyone hugged each other and roared with their nearby companions. At this time, Chen Zai's figure appeared in the huge amounts of light curtain in the air. At this moment he is the light really exists, he dispels the darkness and brings the light. Our light is back. Our savior is back. Countless people looked at the perfect young man in the light curtain with infinite reverence. He is the light, he is the future, he is the hope, and he is God. I remembered, he is the chairman of our umbrella, Mr. Chen Shi. That's right, I've seen the chairman's photo in the company, ha 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 ha. It turns out that our chairman is Shenyang. God, when I go back, I will replace all the products in my home that are not God's. It turned out that the God who saved them was the God of Umbrella. At this moment, the prestige of Umbrella and Chen Shi was raised to the extreme, and they were with the earth. Back at the villa, Chen Shi was surrounded by excited little wives. They were too proud, and their husbands were God. Husband, we can't even describe our excitement in words, we are so honored. Yes, Chen Shi looked at the perfect smiles and joked, you must always believe in the existence of light. The battle of Mephisto is over, but the wounds of the war are not easy to recover. Fighting, smashing, looting and burning due to panic is not a big deal. The only unfortunate thing is the insurance company. It is estimated that many companies have closed down because of this. Moreover, various countries will also need to bleed a lot and invest more human, material and financial resources. But as long as money can solve nothing, the key is that what money can't solve is psychological trauma, that is a broken worldview, that is fear and worry. In the movie, as strong as Tony is not the same, he will be afraid and disturbed. Since the New York War, he is full of fear of the unknown and worried about his own ability. They saved them this time because Umbrella's chairman turned into a savior. What about next time? What if Chen Shi is gone and leaves? As a result, Umbrella's market value went up like crazy, and the stocks that were left out with less than 10 points seemed like a ticket to the boat. They thought that even if Chen Shi left, Umbrella would not be abandoned. In addition, there are countless employees of Umbrella's major industries, even the cleaners sweeping the floor and the security guards at the gate, who want to apply for jobs, sharpen their heads and rush in. Because the chairman of Umbrella is the God of salvation, as long as you join the Umbrella Company, you are joining the 240th Battalion of God's Array. The next day's newspaper section is almost not enough, because there is so much to be commended. Definitely the greatness of the chairman of Umbrella on the front page headlines of the major newspapers. He is the savior of mankind. On the greatest man since the birth of the earth. He is the light of mankind, bringing light to all in the darkest hour. In this era, newspapers were the biggest tool for exchanging information. Televisions were not so popular, and the signal was extremely poor. Only a few national-level television stations were able to inform the United States. Umbrella Manor, the clone butler had already prepared today's newspaper. Husband, look, not only you, but also us, look, hey, we are also superheroines who save the world. Raven jumped on Chen Shi and shouted loudly. Chen Shi thought she was more excited than winning the 1 million lottery. Lottery ticket, yes, why don't you do it? It's just a gimmick of Mephisto fighting, giving love and rebuilding the homeland. When Chen Shi was distracted, Raven suddenly became unhappy. Are you looking down on our women? Don't you care? Hey, I'll kill you. After he finished speaking, he bit on Chen Zai's arm, but almost broke her little tiger teeth. Chen Shi looked at Raven who was covering his mouth and tears were falling, and quickly touched his head and said comfortably, I'm sorry baby, I just lost my mind and came up with an idea, I'm sorry. Really? Then I reluctantly forgive you. Raven glanced at Chen Shi suspiciously, and said aloud. Chen Shi took a look at the newspapers and found that half of these newspapers were under the control of Umbrella, and under Bond's behest, they wrote about mutants' deeds. Mutant. They're just human evolutions. Mutant is the hero of mankind, we can't let the hero chill. When disaster strikes, who stands up? It's the mutant hero we discriminate against. After the fermentation of this matter, and the information of newspapers and magazines, everyone began to reflect on mutant. We are too narrow-minded, we simply listen to the wind and rain, and we have wronged others. Yes, they are heroes, and heroes cannot be made to bleed and cry. They are evolutionaries, and future humans will be like them, they just evolved ahead of time. This is all carried out in accordance with Chen Zai's plan, guiding traditional concepts and allowing this group of people who do not understand at all to correct their thinking. Chen Shi felt that his plan was linked to each other, and it went so smoothly. If there is God's help. Are you the son of luck? Be good, don't say, who is not the protagonist of the transmigrator. Get the system, abuse the villain, CDFE, accept the girl, and go to the pinnacle of life. After reading the newspaper and complimenting the heroines, they left with satisfaction. Female presidents have to work tirelessly to earn money to support a generation of super son-in-law salted fish. Chen Shi. Chen Shi, who was lying on the sofa, immediately contacted Umbrella's housekeeper, Bon. Bane, you held a press conference in the afternoon to say that Umbrella's aid lottery was about to go on sale to help with post-war reconstruction. What does Bon mean as a clone of a future lottery? He immediately knows how to do it, but he really admires the chairman, and he can think of any ideas. Understood the chairman, you are really a business genius, why didn't I think of it? Bon complimented on the phone and said, this is sincere, and he really admires it. Chen Shi smiled proudly. It's all trivial matters, not worth mentioning, so hurry up and contact the major newspapers. Bon nodded. Okay, chairman. Blowing a small whistle, leisurely ran to the yard to bask in the sun, strategizing and winning thousands of miles away. Invincible, I am so lonely. No matter if you are Latitude Mephisto, or the god of creation, or the new life court Adam, I will destroy myself with one punch. System, view the properties panel. Chen Shi was a little excited. Ha ha ha, a war made him become a landlord and an old fortune. Ding, please look at the master. Owner, Chen Shi. Age, realm, level God Father peak immortal and immortal. Strength, 650,000. Stamina, unlimited. Spirit, 550,000. Ordinary adults set the attribute to 1. Constitution, ancient Doomsday gene. Ability, magnetic field control. Shapeshifting simulation, telepathy, mirror space, psychokinesis, space teleportation magic, astral projection, super strength, super speed, flight of light, super defense, supervision, super hearing, perspective, searing sight, super roar, space law 25% momentary movement, space teleportation origin magic power, ice and fire attack. Reality warped. Items. Tesseract. Phone dummy, vibranium 100 tons, space gem, Terminator T-1000. Chen Shi discovered that the temperature control has become the ice and fire attack ability, and it was Dormammu's fire element that made him evolve ice element attack and fire element attack. The most important thing is that reality distorting ability, the future he will be the real mouthpiece. Chen Shi wondered when he saw that he was still at the peak of Heavenly Father. System, when can I metamorphosis into level single universe? Ding, go back to the master. When the strength or spirit exceeds 1 million, it is the level single universe. Soon, let's salt the fish for another 20 years. Everything is fate, and it is impossible to control it. Many people have come to understand from this war that almost overturned the world, that their lives are like ants. No, Umbrella's products are even more in short supply. The things are so good that many people are reluctant to buy them. Now I understand it all, buy them with loans. Just as they were buying this afternoon, another news swept across the country that Umbrella would launch a lottery business. $1 per bet can hit up to 100,000 yuan, and the $100,000 bills this year are incredible. Everyone will be tempted. Everyone thinks that they are the lucky one. Even if they don't win the highest 100,000 yuan, they may win 3 or 5 yuan, and they will not lose. So people with this kind of mentality spread like a virus, running around and telling each other, waiting for the official operation of the lottery in 10 days. In the afternoon, Howard personally went to the Umbrella Manor to find Chen Shi and tell him a big news. Howard said excitedly, "Cousin, the World Safety Committee called me and they agreed to the establishment of S.H.I.E.L.D." Chen Shi was still squinting and basking in the sun. Without raising his eyelids, he returned a word, "Oh." Howard was immediately depressed. "What does this mean?" he said. "Big cousin, can't you say 2 more words?" "I have nothing to say, it's all to be expected. S.H.I.E.L.D. I will push for its establishment no matter what." Chen Shi moved his body a little, and the old god said, "Isn't it enough to have hands?" Howard's mouth twitched. This guy is so calm, Joker is actually himself. Then guess who the chief is? Then Howard said with a mysterious tone. Chen Shi knew Howard's smug tone and knew it was him. Don't guess, isn't the first director yourself? Anyway, S.H.I.E.L.D. now has only 2 or 3 big cats and kittens, empty shelves. Cut, it's boring. Howard shrugged, and then he found a reclining chair to lie down on himself, not to mention it was quite comfortable. While the two were chatting casually, looking at the lazy Chen Shi, Howard sighed in his heart. He didn't expect that many years later, he was still in his prime and his style was the same as before. From 1943 to 1963, the time is too fast. For 20 years, the young man who was just starting out, shining like the sun and appearing in the eyes of the world, has made great progress all the way, and now he has become the savior of mankind and the strongest of mankind. Chen Shi naturally felt the thoughts in Howard's heart. He pointed to the sun in the sky and said to Howard, "Howard, have you seen the sun? You are also young, and I hope you can see the wonderful future." Howard shook his head. Howard knew what Chen Shi meant, but unfortunately his lifespan was not enough to support him. After 60 or 70 years, his magical aptitude was at a medium level. Chen Shi patted him on the shoulder and said, "Go to Umbrella headquarters, Bon will give you what you want." Hearing what Chen Shi meant, Howard sat up instantly. He knew what Chen Shi said. "Thank you, cousin." Howard gave Chen Shi a deep bow. He knew that Erskine would not be seen for more than 10 years after he left, and he knew that Erskine was in Umbrella. What he guessed was that the side effects of the super soldier serum had been eliminated long ago, and the effect would definitely be better. He never opened his mouth. He believed that Chen Shi would definitely give it to him. Chen Shi waved his hand and said, "Hurry up, it's just a small matter, don't block my brother from basking in the sun." "I'm leaving." Howard went straight to Umbrella's company with excitement. "Super soldier serum, here I come." Just when Chen Shi was basking in the sun, an earth-shattering but silent event happened outside. In order to boost the votes for the next election, Kennedy went to Dallas, Texas to give a speech to raise funds to support post-disaster reconstruction. Originally it was a good thing, but his competitor didn't talk about martial arts, he directly assassinated him, and he could also pass the blame on Mutant. There is absolutely no way to hide such a thing. The entire Congress is like a sieve, and Umbrella has been infiltrated too seriously. Bond told the news to Charles and Eric, and asked them to secretly protect the old Ken. Eric was naturally furious when he heard that the other party wanted to put the blame on his mutant side. He and Charles rushed to Dallas, Texas, to kill the assassins and protect Lao Ken. "Charles, why do you think this group of people is staring at us? We have never done anything harmful to society." Eric doesn't understand very much. Obviously the public has finally corrected their views on Mutant, but these old foxes just don't let it go. Charles looked at Eric and sighed. "Sir said a word, we have the ability to rebel, this is our sin." Eric nodded vaguely. He was not as knowledgeable as Charles, and he didn't understand the tolerance of Chinese culture. In Eric's mind, he doesn't need to understand much truth, he just wants to be the sword in the boss's hand and kill all the disobedient ministers. While Charles was secretly investigating, a suspicious person appeared within a kilometer radius of telepathy. Charles quickly invaded his mind, and sure enough, he got the answer he wanted, that man was an assassin. Charles glanced at Eric. Eric understood it, and touched it quietly, sensing that the man was holding the parts of the sniper rifle, assembling it there. Poochie. The blunt muzzle turned into a sharp knife and inserted directly into his heart. Before he could react, it ended his dirty life. Done, call it a day. Lao Ken on the stage was still giving a passionate speech, unaware that he had just passed by Death God. "Lao Ken, let's go back after this is over, you almost went to see Satan just now, someone assassinated you, and it was solved by us, don't talk about it." Lao Ken, who was giving a speech, was taken aback for a moment. "Why did Charles come? I almost fell on my knees just now." Lao Ken paused and thought to let others find out what was wrong. He thought it was a sign to applaud them, so they almost slapped their hands in red. After hurriedly ending his trip, Lao Ken approached Charles and expressed his gratitude. "Charles, thank you, or I'm screwed." Charles smiled and said, "You're welcome, we're compatriots. Okay, Don't be rude, we'll go back with you, don't show up in public during this time. Eric directly interrupted the two of them to be polite. As for what? When the two heard it, they immediately smiled awkwardly, and then glanced at Eric with contempt. Illiterate. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.